Interwebs, we are live. Hello, internets and internet type looking at, watching people. What's happening? Kawoosh? I don't think it's Kawoosh, Gizzard. I don't know about that.
I think it's more of a whoosh.
And more of a yeah. Well, I mean, if anybody's a fan of Married with Children, which is still one of the best shows ever, awesome show. You'll know that Al Bundy's dad taught him right. He taught him the ways of the Ferguson toilet. Whoosh. A great episode. One of the best episodes when he built his own bathroom in the garage. I don't know if you guys saw that.
That's a man's flush.
It's a man's flush. He builds his bathroom in the garage. He's got his magazine rack for his biggins, and it's got like 6 toilet paper rolls on the wall, like 2 rolls of 3, so he never runs out of toilet paper. Good stuff. Great show. Another show that you couldn't do now. That's why TV sucks now, because you can't do anything funny. But anyhow, let's say 7 Wonders, if you're out there watching and you're trying to get in and you can't get in, maybe we can give you some advice. Blowing phones up and trying to get into the chat and can't do it. So if you're out there, let me know. We'll see if we can get you in here. Say hi to the yahoos that be here already. RL, you're all the way on the end today. What's up, buddy?
Not much. How you doing, man?
The hangout chat.
I just can't. It's midnight. It's your channel. I figured I'd come and hang out where all the dicks hang out. So
yeah, you got to be good at something, right? So we got there's Robbie. There's Robbie. Robbie, is your dad there? Oh, he's got his stogie.
Mm-hmm. Robbie's got a stogie.
Mm-hmm.
So what's going on, Abe?
Nothing too much. Went to the gun show this weekend and picked up a kind of an interesting little square break for my pistol.
Oh, yeah.
that definitely is interesting.
So is that somebody? Is that like a bigger company, or is that somebody small? It's just doing different stuff.
Let's see. That's the actual company, APF.
APF.
Yeah, it's damn it! I just talked to him. It's Alexandria Precision Firearms. They're actually a Minnesota company that's doing all their machining work here. So, and while at the gun show, I actually handed out 2 or 3 gun channels cards. So,
cool.
Yep. Other than that, I ain't been doing jack. I've got just burning up vacation time, getting ready for Tulsa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you guys are coming down to the wire now here. Head out there, right?
Getting close.
When does it start? Thursday? They start setting up, right? For Friday or something like that?
It's trying to remember. It's a Saturday. The show's Saturday, Sunday, but some people are coming down, or some of the gun channels people are coming down Thursday. Some are coming Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I think Pawnery's doing his turn and burn again. So, that's gunchannels.com. Go check it out. Just do it. Don't ask why.
Mad Sexy must have passed out on his keyboard again. Face down. Blam. Right on the heart button. Gizzard, what's going on, buddy?
Not a whole heck of a lot, man. Was in a chat this morning with some people. You might know a little something about that.
A little bit. Was there for a little while.
And had a good time for a little shy of 4 hours. So other than that, just been driving around and taking care of things. So thanks for the invite.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I missed the early bird chat, Gizzard. I had to go to church and then help feed the homeless.
Yeah. Is that a lie?
Feeding yourself does not count as feeding the homeless.
And beating the bishop does not constitute going to church either.
It's
snap.
polishing the bishop. Polishing the bishop.
Oh my God.
Oh.
McGurd.
Hey, I think that could be a bracket right there. Euphemisms for masturbation.
Oh, yeah. You get at least 16.
Oh,
Oh, the cops are here. Shut up.
Speaking of which, hi, Sarge.
Please expand.
What is up?
He's got the stickiest steering wheel in police business.
He's got to do something while he's sitting alongside the road there.
Oh my God, I would fall asleep constantly. I don't know how the hell you guys do that.
What?
I'd be asleep in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
That's why they wear
People
those dark
come in-
glasses so you can tell.
There'd be people like stealing the hubcaps off the cars, and they'd strip the whole car around me. I'd still be sleeping inside. So Giz, no, we did Gizzard. Grim, what's going on, buddy?
Everybody's done gizzard.
Oh,
Damn it. Not too much. How's it going?
Keep it to yourself, man.
the usual. You got school tomorrow, or you guys on vacation again?
No, I gotta go back to work. Can't hang out too much tonight.
Bummer.
Gotta do state testing tomorrow. Yay.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Never enough testing.
Never enough time. You got your number 2 pencil, Scantron style, or what?
Oh no, man. Come on, modern technology, man. They got laptops and
Yeah.
and all this stuff, and then you know what happens, right? When 700 kids are on laptops, it crashes.
Yeah.
Brown gal.
Well, it's because 90% of them are on porn sites, probably.
Well, no. You know what? It's funny you say that. This year, once you start the test, it locks you out of every other function. Because kids were doing that. They were looking up, I don't know what, and playing music and going to Google to search for answers in the past years.
Oh yeah, that's true. That didn't even occur to me. Like,
Start opening windows.
Yeah, you got 14 minutes of them.
What was that?
I said now they'll have to use their phones.
Yeah, that's true. No, you got the ones that click through it. I got a couple of kids. They finished in in 8 minutes tops. They're done.
You used to have to just make a pattern down the paper to do it that way. Just draw a picture with the dots.
Usually I find that if you make in the shape of Big Dipper, you get a C.
Yeah.
Abracadabra.
Hey. Yeah.
Absida, the whole way down. Kingpin, what's going on, man?
Not a whole lot. Thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely. So you didn't go to Gettysburg today, or you did?
No, I couldn't go. I was gonna go today. I couldn't go yesterday, but a bunch of my friends did, and they said it was not really all that interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So since nobody else was going, then there's no real reason for me to drive up there.
Yeah. RL, the Oaks gun show compared to the one in Harrisburg. Oaks is bigger, right?
Yeah.
Significantly?
The biggest one I think so. It's like 4 rooms at Oaks.
Oh yeah.
I haven't been there in about 2.5 years. The last time I went to Oaks, but yeah, it's.
No, I thought you went the other week.
No, I never made it down to Oaks. I was supposed to, but I ended up having to do stuff. Again, all my church issues and stuff like that came up. So.
Yeah, you probably had to babysit a bunch of puppies and help nuns watch the bus.
You got it. There's a good small show coming up in Center Hall, PA, if you know where that is.
No, I have no idea.
It's going to be on the 13th. That'd be from your area. You'd go up 322 towards State College.
Huh.
And then jump off on would be probably 192 or 45 up by State College. It is.
Yeah,
It's like a
it's
small
kind of a
show.
hike.
It's probably an hour and a half from you.
Yeah.
I've been to Oaks before. It's a good show.
Yeah, I've never been there, but I've just heard people mention it a lot. I think Slim goes there a lot.
Yeah,
whenever
he's
they
real
try Slim.
close.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You'll find a lot of the vendors that are at Harrisburg or at Oaks a lot of the times too. I mean, those guys get around. They have a whole circuit of shows. Like even up by me, up to Bloomsburg, they get to and stuff. So, like most of the guys I know that are vendors are at Oaks also. So,
yeah. Obnoxious. Oop. Go ahead.
I said I tend to hang out with a couple people I know that do the gun show circuit when I go a lot of times.
Well, that's cool. I mean, it's neat. It's always good. It's always nice to know people.
Yeah, but they're all selling guns that always cost me a shit ton of money.
Yeah, that's true. But on the off chance that, you're bullshitting with one of those guys and you say, man, I'd really love to find this, that, or the other thing. And they're like, oh, I know a guy, or I saw one of those last week,
I have had that happen before, actually.
Yeah.
I saw one of those.
Cool. Yeah. Mr. Dumpster Fire himself. What's going on there, homie G? Oh, he turbocharged his crap shack.
What's going on? I want to thank you for sending the Closer company car to pick me up. I should be there any minute.
Obnoxious. Did you have Mexican tonight or what? Holy shit.
This is the Closer company car. So, Midnight was kind enough to send it to pick me up to come into the studio today. So I should be there any minute.
That was good of him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we spare no expense. Yeah. I put my whole budget into that.
Obnoxious with it.
Budget's in here.
We whatever. We put the whole budget in there. He's the one stealing. Yeah, they're steering. He's the driver. Now, I mean, it's not all that bad though. We provided the wheels and the structure, and Obnoxious provided the gas. Holy shit! Look who finally figured out.
Holy Christ!
Right.
Even a blind squirrel gets a nut once in a while.
Stage name.
I don't know. Patriot, when's the last time you got a nut?
Oh my!
Damn, my phone is blowing up, man. Holy crap!
I killed the fucking chat right there, didn't I?
You got a wheelie bar on that thing, Obnoxious? Should.
But it really doesn't have that much lift to it.
It's all. Yeah.
What kind of gas mileage does that thing get?
Ass mileage.
1 per fart.
Oh, you're on fire then.
Too much Taco Bell.
It was Mexican, wasn't it?
Yes.
Holy gross. All right. Well, while we go get the fire extinguishers to put out Obnoxious's ass. Patriot, what's going on?
And I always got to follow that. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
No, just hanging out. Did kind of stayed in. It snowed. I actually got snow Thursday and Friday. It was like 60 degrees, beautiful out, and then it snowed. So just messing around with the little Browning buck mark today. And that's about it. Thanks for the invite.
Speaking of butt marks, huh? Obnoxious, yeah.
I'm gonna have one after this ride in. I'll tell you that.
Skin marks or butt marks?
Both.
6 of one, half dozen of the other. No wonder your wife's always mad at you when she has to do the laundry. Holy shit!
You know I'm Porky Piggin, so you're.
It's true. He sent me a very ranty email about how his asbestos underwear itched.
Mm-hmm.
The mad crapper strikes again.
I pity his computer chair.
Just don't sit in his chair.
Yeah, anyway. Yeah, keep out of that one. Sarge, what's going on? You on the job? Are you on the yob?
I'll be in and out tonight, yes.
Are we being detained?
No.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
Okay.
I'm just out here peddling my patches.
Is that another euphemism for the bracket?
There we go. There's a new
Peddling
one.
patches.
I've never heard that one before.
You mean you're not just going to come into the last 2 minutes of the stream like you did on mine last night?
I hope he doesn't come in the last 2 minutes of the stream.
He's out there in the chat through the whole damn thing, and then he pops into the panel the last 2 minutes. Oh, check out my Indiegogo for my patches.
Yeah, Obnoxious was like getting ready to hit the close button, hit the stop button and pop in.
Yep, and Sarge pops in. Check out my Indiegogo for my patches.
Hey, how you doing, guys? A little used car salesman. Hey, let me tell you about this fine piece of machinery right here. And so, what else, Sarge? What you got going on?
Oh, nothing. I was fixing my intro to my videos. I finally had I noticed the quality had gotten, well, all my videos are bad, but the video quality on my intro had gotten bad, and I guess because I copied and copied and copied it, it took me an hour, but I went back and found the original one I had made, and been working on that the last couple of days, playing around. Nothing much.
Hold on, RL's dying on us.
RL's dying on live TV here.
Obnoxious. Hang a left and go up to RL's house. Pick him up in the.
I'll be there in just a minute.
You got to get him to the hospital, bro.
Forget the hospital. Just go to the beer fridge.
It's all right. Just get some more beer in me. I'll be fine.
Is that the first beer you've ever had?
I remember.
Yeah, that's it. Yep.
with the church. Yeah, it's kicking back on you. All those good deeds. Ooh.
I drink so many of them, they get to a point where they just start coming back, and then you gotta get it back down. Just fills up in there.
Oh god, that's horrible when you're drinking beer and you burp up foam. Ugh.
Yeah, it's like a burp. Yeah.
Ugh. But with the kind of thrust that thing has, Obnoxious should be up to your house in no time.
I would hope so.
Long at all. It'll be quick. It'll get you to the hospital. Put a big blue light on the top. Everybody can have the light.
Beto.
Was that guy running for president? Oh, that's Beto.
Ugh.
Big goofy bastard.
Yeah, yeah.
Want to vote for a nerd? There you go.
You mean Obama Light?
That's racist, and racist is wrong.
He seems like he's just, I don't know, just you want to vote for a dork, here's your guy. Seven Wonders, what's going on? Thanks for joining us finally.
Finally. Can you hear me now?
Oh, we can hear you. And
somebody talking?
And all I could hear 5 minutes ago was my phone going ape shit.
I don't know why.
Hey,
man.
You're the one who dropped in the toilet.
It would. No, I couldn't join. I don't know, man. I tried, and it kept saying trying to join, but I couldn't get in.
It's all right.
Yeah,
I've had Black Cat beer.
I've had issues in the past. I've had issues.
Really?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Fill in the blank here. There you go. There's a bracket for you. My biggest issues 1 through 147. And the winner is Slim Jim. I've had some issues with joining Hangouts from my phone when I've done updates and stuff, and I've had to do some weird things. For a while there, every time I wanted to join somebody's Hangout from my phone, I had to copy and paste a link into Google, and then Google would take me to Hangouts, and then I could join. It was really weird. Other than that, it wouldn't let me do it. Yeah.
Well, I haven't done any updates in a while, but I joined in all 3 of our amazing live chats last night with David Bowling. No, but it let me join all 3 of those. I have no idea what the difference is, but oh well.
Who all was supposed to be on that chat?
That's a secret.
Oh.
It's folks who haven't talked on chats before, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But it's names you know. Like David said, basically.
Oh. If it was just you 2, you'd call it Wonder Bowling.
Right?
Yeah.
A twin Davids or something. I don't know. Dave and Dave.
Or
7-10 splits.
My brother, this is my brother Daryl. This is my other brother Daryl. See who's out there in the chat. Vanessa Kitty was first. Dead Horse is down in the Gun Channel chat. You son of a bitch. You're supposed to be in here. I know Grim said he was jumping out eventually. You know, Grim, when you jump out, Dead Horse, if there's a spot, jump in. I want to talk to you a little bit.
I'll pass out here soon. No problem. He'll have a spot.
You sound like you might choke yourself out.
Pass out or choke?
Well, you know, if you quit choking yourself while drinking beer, with one being an issue, or if you would actually succeed at one or the other.
Is that what he was choking on?
Pick one.
Well, I hope he's not choking his chicken. I mean, we can't see his hands.
And there's another euphemism. See, we've got 3 for the bracket. I'm telling you, that's the bracket tonight.
Why are you choking Gary?
Why?
Oh,
leave Gary out of this.
Gary's kinky. He likes it when you choke.
Don't worry. If something happens to Gary, we can always call Larry up from the minors and stick him in there.
Big deal. Larry?
I don't know.
As a result of making something for the bracket, I gotta say in about half an hour I gotta tap out. So Dead Horse can have my spot.
There's a 4th one.
There's another thing for the bracket.
If Cindy's as mad as she has been, Larry might be sleeping in the garage with roll call. They might be bunk buddies out there in the garage. Let's see who we got out there though. Vanessa Kitty was first. Gary, Jason Stewart. Jason Stewart said he needs a new name. We gotta come up with something for Jason. That's fun.
He just subbed me tonight too.
Jason Stewart.
Yeah, he does need a new name.
Yeah, we'll figure. Now, what I want to do, what we should do, is
get him on a chat.
We get him in the chat next week. Talk to him a little bit, find out what he's all about, and then come up with a fucking nickname for him.
I'd offer him beef soda, but that one's taken.
And that beef soda's taken. I guess you could have beef soda 0.
If there is if there ever was a chat with enough deranged lunatics in it to come up with an awesome nickname, this would be the one.
Mm-hmm.
This would be the one. So Jason Stewart, send me your email. We'll get you on the show. We'll get things sorted out for you. Ozzy was out there, Vanessa Kitty. YP's out there. Hey, poor conservative, Frankie Guns and Glitter. You guys are chatting back and forth. Kinky's out there. What's pooping, Kinky? Other than obnoxious. Patriot, Arctic Fire. How's it going, brother? Scott P79, Snob's wife, Mad Sexy. We saw Mad Sexy, and it's 478,000 hearts.
Mm-hmm.
He must have done something to piss Snob's wife off. He's trying to make up to her. Kingpin. Now we'll skip down for about 5 minutes.
Nap time.
All those hearts.
V-Web just jumped in over on the YouTube chat.
What the hell? It took 7 Wonders 45 minutes to get in here, and then he drops out after 5 minutes.
His wife found out he was using the phone.
Oh.
Ozarks, Ozarks out there.
He must have learned how to chat from Patriot.
Revolvers out there. Roll calls out there. We got a good chat room out there. 7 Wonders. G-Web, what's going on, G? Said Ozark. Glimtac, I sent you a link, but there is no spot for you at the moment. 22 shotgun. That is a new.
Where is it?
It's a new one.
Mm-hmm.
Who's talking? Oh, that was Sarge. Oh, Sarge is. Oh, 7. I lost his icon. Nothing. I thought it was you talking. I was like, oh, he's detaining somebody. Matthew Johnson, 22 Shotgun. What's up, buddy? Is that a new name or is that a new person entirely? It's always nice to know. I think that's it. So, what's going on, people? What's going on? Mad Sexy says, no, I did not piss her off. I just like her more than y'all.
I can understand that.
I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, down the Gun Channels chat. Fine Apes down there. David's down there. G's down there. Dead Horse, Glimtex down there also. Pfeiffer, Snob's wife. You got a good group down there too. Very cool. Oh, 22 Shotgun is a new name. Try to guess who I am. We're gonna have some sort of hint.
You gotta give us a hint.
Does Midnight know you on Grindr?
And he's not talking about the sub shop either. Tread's out there. What's going on, Tread? Yeah, 22 Shotgun. That's an odd name because, I mean, I've shot some bird shot out of 22, but yeah, they say he is incredibly handsome. Well, geez, I mean, that could be anybody on the gun channels. Holy shit.
Yeah, that could be.
That's nobody in this chat, so.
I'm going to guess it's unknown user.
That's a fair guess. Fair guess. Gizzard, is that just a guess?
That's a guess.
That's a guess.
I'll say
Fred
Yankee.
says my dad has a 20.
There's no way in hell Yankee would be on this chat.
Yankee.
I think it's that.
Oh, well,
245.
I said incredibly handsome. His kind of stroke face makes him look better than ever.
No.
Winky Marshall.
No, unless he actually decides to sew that 2016 Gun Channels or Gun Show Loophole tour onto his patch or onto his eye patch.
He'd look like he needs to hang out with Dan Crenshaw more. He'd get himself a badass eye patch.
Or he could try to pin this Gun Channels anniversary pin onto his eye patch. Though I would suggest he probably takes his patch off first.
Matthew Johnson.
Man.
Oh man.
Wah wah.
Well, I told it. I don't know whose chat I typed it in the other day. They were talking about Yankee and my uncle more than a few years back now, probably 6-8 years ago. Came down with Bell's palsy real bad, and his buddies got him this big plaque to hang up at our camp, our hunting camp, our family camp, and it's still hanging up above the doorway, the doorwell there, and it's this goofy looking face, and it's etched in, like burned into wood. It's like wood burnt. The letters are wood burnt or whatever, and it says "Welcome to Crooked Face Camp." It's like boy, if your friends really love you, right? With friends like that, who needs enemies? Huh?
That's just wrong.
Nah.
What are you drinking, Midnight? What kind of beer are you drinking?
No, it's birch beer.
Oh, birch beer. I like birch beer.
Yeah. Reading Draft is the company. Well, they sell it at the grocery store I go to. I just picked one up a month or two ago. I grabbed one just out of sort of not instinct, but
curiosity.
Yeah, I was like, man, I haven't had a birch beer in forever, and now it's kind of like a Sunday thing. I'll pick one up and drink one during the show because it's good. It's got a lot of flavor to it, and it's pretty clean. It's called Reading Draft.
I always like the frozen run birch beer myself.
Yeah, that was there was one too. We were talking about this on the show one time because I said something about birch beer, and he was saying how much he likes it. And there was someone when I was a kid. There was a frozen run, and there was another one that's called Bear Run. Bear Run birch beer that was always in the stores. And then there was one that they used to color red, white, and blue, Like they would have 3 different bottles. They were in like the two. You said you do remember them?
No, I don't remember. Oh, damn it!
Wait, his Alzheimer's just kicked in.
No, I keep locking up. My phone keeps locking up on this chat.
Yeah. So they would have like the 2-liter bottles of soda, and they'd have them on the, on the shelf in the grocery store, and they'd have them beside each other, and it'd be red, white, and blue. So it was pretty cool. Two Live News says, "Wait, they sell 1 beer at a time." Yeah, well, it's birch beer, so yeah, you can buy 1 at a time. And I didn't buy a 6-pack because I figured if I bought a 6-pack, I would just jam them all down in one night and be pissed off at myself. So I bought 1. I buy them 1 at a time. It's like Lucy birch beers.
I do that with regular beer.
Yeah. Glimtech says
1 at a time into a 6-pack.
Grounds, Reading. Yeah. The Pork and Services have to pick some up when I'm in Reading in July. Yeah. Yeah, if you can find it, grab some. It's pretty good. It could be a little more bitey. If it had a little bit more bite, it'd be perfect. And it's made with cane sugar, and I'm thinking that's why I'm not usually a fan of cane sugar syrup or cane sugar sodas. Usually I think they're kind of thick.
You prefer your high fructose corn syrup?
Yeah, I like a soda that's not real syrupy. And sometimes when it seems that when they do a soda with the cane syrup, I don't know, it just texturally it's kind of syrupy to me. So this Night Strike's out there. What's going on, Night Strike? You got a link too if that opens up and you want to hop in. So 22 shotgun. We got to figure this out. This is going to bug the shit out of me now. Gizzard is saying he thinks it's Alan. Alan B.
Man from Iowa.
Yeah, it could be one of those Iowans. Iowegian.
Otherwise known as Jam.
I got it. Maybe it's Forklift Guy.
I don't know. Saying he's handsome.
Handsome.
He's talking about getting. He's got a bad sense of humor. He had a girlfriend
who had around here.
Yeah, I see that. I don't know.
I love birch beer.
Yeah, I know. I told everybody.
I know. I'm behind in the chat.
Did you have a stroke? That was like 5 minutes ago.
5 minutes ago. That was last week. You've been online all week.
5 minutes later, I like birch beer.
Sorry.
I like birch beer. Thanks. All right, that's great.
Hey, now don't be laughing at him. For all we know, his brain could have just been off for the last 5 minutes, and that's the only way he can talk now is birch beer. Birch beer.
He could have taken a nap. That's right.
Yeah, he's probably napping.
No boob sweat's out there. It's not boob sweat.
I think he was flogging the dolphin. See, there's another euphemism there.
There you go. Rupan says John 12 gauge.
I missed. Did I cut out again? God damn. I sound like I'm retarded. I keep cutting out.
In all seriousness, I have 2 great stories to tell you guys after you're done. When you go off air. They're wonderful.
Oh, you got to wait till we're off air?
Yeah.
All right.
Later,
Good night, everybody.
All right, for everybody, we'll be back in 15 minutes.
And folks, thanks for tuning in to The Closer.
We'll see you next week.
You should be
able to check out gunchannels.com for more Pro 2A content.
You should be able to
our regularly scheduled programming.
This has been The Closer.
Whoosh.
I think you used to say that.
Remember always to wipe and flush.
In that
the
order.
winner of the bracket tonight was Spanking the Monkey. So there you
No, it was not spanking the monkey. It was waxing your carrot.
Waxing what?
Waxing your carrot.
Waxing your carrot. Okay.
Monkeys don't like
I always
carrots.
Here's a good one. Hitchhiking under the big top. You got to get kind of like a visual thing going with that one. You got to imagine like a sheet, and
I don't know, Black Cat. You lost me on that one.
Okay, yeah, that's a stretch. It's a stretch.
Yeah,
I tried to make it popular. I tried to make it popular years ago. I guess it never caught on. I don't know.
Night Strike says, "Who was the wound up sumbitch tonight?" I think we all know who was.
Yeah,
I don't know that we have to. Yeah. We'll have to go into that. Roll Call did jump into the chat. He was the first one in the chat. He was here for about 9 seconds and then took off. I don't know what the hell happened to him.
I don't know. I nominate Roll Call for wound up some bitch of the year after the other night.
You do have to have an end of year bracket for end of year wound up son of a bitch.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he. Night Strike says Roll Call? Question mark. They got it. Him and the old lady got it back to back. Who won it? 3 weeks ago? They might have been back to back. Pfeiffer said he got an email from Primary Arms that they are shipping to California also. Night Strike says the night is still young.
Yeah, so's PSA.
I read a meme earlier. It was great. It said it's amazing. The California ban has been repealed for 1 day, and everybody suddenly has 30-round mags. All those people just turned them in evidently and got them back on 1 day.
Was that the one with the little kid like this, where he was like? I
can't remember.
Yeah, there's one with that little. One his kid's like looking like this. He's kind of looking all like skeptical, like, and it says, "It said how do you all have 30-round mags to sell on the very first day of the ban?" The ban.
That was the gun-toting pacifist that posted that one.
Yeah, it was. You're right. Dead Horse says water doesn't hurt polymer mag bodies. You just scoop them all out of the ponds. Scoop them all out of the water, right?
Well, everybody knows aluminum doesn't rust.
Mm-hmm. Aluminum does rust, but aluminum
oxidizes. No, there's a difference.
Yeah, it oxidizes.
Whatever. Shut up. Go get your own fucking show.
Fine, I'll go make my own show, but with hookers and blackjack.
Whoa, look who snuck in. Look at that. Black cat screwed up, and old fucking Night Strike took his spot. That son of a bitch.
Wow. I got him.
Look at that.
Mr. Black Cat, you've just been striked at night.
You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Ozzy Osbourne. I would say Osborne, man. It's hard not to say Osborne. Ozzy Osbourne says 22 shotgun is Calaveras. That could be. Glimtech Arm says Cali gets 30-round mags and crime drops 20%. The next day. How amazing would it be if they did a study in like 2 months and saw that there was like 10% less crime than there was?
Well, since they have no gun shops in San Francisco, I mean, they could do a study there.
Yeah.
No.
By putting a gun shop there and see how, see if crime goes down.
Screw San Francisco, man.
California. Forget San Francisco.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, dude, it's a mess because it's not even just guns, but like health in general. Like the wife and I were talking about it. We were talking about vaccinations. And don't
even get me started.
There's how many, again, I do understand why people, when you see what's in some of the vaccines, why they'd be afraid to use them, right?
Yeah, but at the same time, listen, I bet more often than not, every single person on this panel has had a vaccination at one point in their life. Okay.
Oh yeah.
And why do you think we're all on this panel?
And unfortunately, we're all still here. So obviously the vaccination didn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the point is, if we're still here, I don't see what the problem is with going and getting your children vaccinated. Yeah, there's probably some stuff in there that you don't want. But if you looked at what's in your food, there's stuff in there that you don't want. Like, if you want to know where red food coloring comes from, trust me, you don't. You do not want to know where red food coloring comes from. I know, and I wish I didn't know.
I don't know who 22 Shotgun is, but I'd like to thank Night Strike for inventing him.
I did not invent 22 Shotgun. Thanks,
Night, kitty cat.
Buddy.
Well, finish your beer before you go to bed. You'll feel better.
He's got to go retire.
And try not to be in fridge.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have human children, but I can tell you from research that cancer rates in cats that have been vaccinated are much, much higher, especially at the site of the vaccination. Yeah, now I don't know how that transfers to humans, but
yeah.
Well,
it is.
There's also all the housing communities that were built in the 80s and 90s under power lines out west. I'm sorry, but building houses underneath large power lines probably attributes to cancer too. Just saying.
Yeah. Some people build
no idea.
In all honesty, there's just a lot more electromagnetic radiation going around than there were 30 years ago. I mean, everyone's got their fucking cell phone, their Wi-Fi and everything. There's just more shit out there, period.
Well, yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, my grandmother just turned 106, and she grew up on a farm. They ate their own vegetables, they ate their own beef, and well, like I said, she's 106. That probably doesn't happen too often these days.
Oh, but quite honestly, the whole thing about I think it was in Chandler, Arizona, that happened. Where the police broke in and took the children because they were unvaccinated.
Well, what was
that's the one that's in the news majorly right now, I think.
Yeah, I didn't even hear about that. I'd be interested to see what else was connected to that, though.
But
well, that kid had measles or mumps or one of those screwed up things, and the doctors said he should go to the hospital, and they were like, "Nah, he's fine."
Well,
there's only two, so that's
yeah. Well, that's what That's what we got to talking about was, especially out there because it's so much more prevalent out there than it is anywhere else with the sort of mentality of not vaccinating your kids, and there's stuff like. There's some horrible freaking diseases that were almost eradicated for hundreds of years, and they're popping back up. People are seeing smallpox again and shit like that. Crazy.
Because all these
Too bad we don't have a way to prevent those ancient diseases.
Oh,
right.
We can't do it.
We do, but all these pot smoking hippies and the left coast want to not vaccinate their children, not use medicine, and try and use herbs to fight off diseases. And that may have worked a little bit for the Native Americans, but they didn't die. When we came over here to this area of the world, they died left and right because they didn't have immunities to the diseases that happened in Europe.
Then we killed a bunch of them.
And then we killed a bunch of them
that just toughened them up. What are you talking about? You gotta be tough.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yeah, right? No shit. You didn't get vaccines.
Not true.
And
Asheville had the highest or most concentrated outbreak of chicken pox in 2018 because of all their exemptions that they have with all the hippies that live there.
They have vaccine for chicken pox now.
Let's not forget about illegal immigration as well.
Anywhere in modern history.
Yeah, it's because they're coming from all those nice third world countries.
Yeah, and the medical care there is so fantastic.
Freaking Stealth Hunter's got his aluminum tinfoil hat on super tall tonight.
I just want to make one clear indication. I don't mind if people want to smoke pot and if they want to make it legal. I just mind that pot smoking hippies don't vaccinate their children because we had some diseases completely gotten rid of, but now there's even because of vaccinations and whatnot, there's even talks of people having the plague again.
And these are vaccinated people not vaccinating their children. That's
the main thing. So it's like it's vaccinations for them, but not their children. It's like, what the hell? Why are you even still living?
I just want to go on record as saying that vaccines make the frogs gay.
Look, you
No,
guys
no,
are
no. You
missing
can't say it right. You gotta say it. I don't want them putting chemicals in the water that turns the frogs gay.
You guys are missing the big picture. All these diseases and stuff that are popping up will easily be taken care of when the government runs all the healthcare.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they'll know what to do.
Right. Here, here's a rubber ball. It bounces. Go play over there.
Right. You want to know how well government healthcare works? Just go up into Canada. Go up into Canada and ask them how government healthcare works.
Oh, it works fine, eh? It works absolutely fine.
It works fine. Yeah. No, it doesn't.
Works fine for those that are alive.
Yeah, that's the answer.
You know, when people complain about there are too many laws and there's too many, it's people like these anti-vaxxers that cause new laws that you're going to have to come up requiring children to be vaccinated because these people are going to let their kids die and let these diseases spread because of some off-base theory that they have. This is why.
Well, Sarge, that's true, but the problem is also the people that are enacting laws in the first place in the government, because a kid could die from not getting vaccinated, get a vaccination, but you know what? This kid shouldn't have died from vaccination, so we need better gun laws. You got politicians acting like that whenever nothing relating to firearms happens, and yeah, we need more gun laws. So if we had politicians that actually did their job, I mean, shit, we wouldn't need as many laws.
Yeah,
I think Nice Strike ate some of that cane sugar.
If we had politicians
no
that did their
sugar,
jobs, we wouldn't need as many politicians either.
Oh, I've already had enough sugar tonight. And caffeine. I'm good.
He's got a bag of sugar and a spoon beside him right now.
I've got a bag full of pixie sticks.
Well, that's because he invented it.
He just got beef jerky and caffeine tablets.
Well, then why does he have a lighter and a spoon, and then why does it smell like caramel?
I think you're talking about Bob.
Bob popped
up in a chat the other week. Last week he popped up in a chat section under I think a Daily Gun Show. I think.
Nice.
I haven't seen Bob in forever.
Yeah. Well, he's a Canadian. What do you expect?
Yeah, All right. Damn Canadians.
Yeah, those damn Canadians.
So, one of the topics.
You actually have topics.
Yeah, one of them was. I was watching. So when Gizzard got the 22, when he got his new Taurus, and he was at the range and stuff, he was talking about his groups and some things he might try to help his accuracy out a little bit. And I thought it'd be kind of fun to maybe throw it around the room and sort of talk about some of the things that we do, or some of the things that we think about when we go to the range to shoot, right? Not just grip and stuff, and grip's obviously like super important. But what are some other stuff? What are some other things that when you're thinking about things that can basically affect your accuracy? What are some things that come to mind? Yeah. So, and it can be small, it can be large. It doesn't really matter. I don't really care what it is. I just thought it'd be kind of neat to talk about and see what kind of things pop out of people's heads. Still says, "Don't let your gun draw your own blood." That's a good one. Mm-hmm. Jorge says, "Breathing control." Yep, breathing is one of the ones that I have in my list for sure. Ape, what do you think? What's a good one?
Well, all this talk about sugar and caffeine, I'd say probably don't have that 62-ounce super sweet extra calf black coffee before going to the range.
Unless you do it every day. Then you're going to want to be that way.
Mm-hmm.
If that's your norm, you better keep it the same.
And when you talk about breath control, are you talking about like precision shooting or just run-of-the-mill target practice?
Well, I think
breathing.
User just put it out there. He said, always fire while exhaling, never hold your breath. Yeah, that's a big one that I've always heard, and that's very helpful. Inhale, hold it for a sec, and then, squeeze on the exhale.
Or wait for the wind to shift.
Obnoxious
so it kind of clears around you.
Obnoxious does that when he's pooping too. He, squeezes on the exhale. He said it helps. I don't know.
So am I the only?
It does.
No, I'm not the only one, but I just try to find a good cadence, and I don't worry about breath control unless I'm breathing control, unless I'm like shooting a rifle and I'm like shooting prone or something like that. I don't worry about it. That's just me.
Mm-hmm. I find that when I try and shoot at a specific time, I don't do as well. Like what you're talking about doing and shooting in like a rhythm, basically. I don't shoot quite as well when I do things like that. I shoot better when I focus more on my breathing and my trigger pull. I like to have something to if I don't have something to focus on, if I don't have something to focus on, I get a little ahead of myself and I shoot too fast if I'm really trying to shoot well.
Makes sense. I mean, for me, I focus on my stance because I got 3 extra discs. So if I don't focus on my stance, I'll know about it the next day. So, yeah, that's just natural for me at this point to try to focus on that.
Dead Horses says you're supposed to exhale and pause and shoot, but not hold your breath. But do not shoot during your exhale. Finger placement is another one that I have an issue with. Finger placement for me is one of the biggest things that widens my groups. Too much finger, not enough finger on the trigger. I tend to shoot when I shoot off. I tend to shoot low and left, so that's usually my finger. What else?
You know what else will help that shooting left? And you're right, it's finger placement. Not everybody has their own finger placement. Those little charts are all well and good in theory, but my hand is not going to fit on the trigger the same place your hand is because you've got giant meat hooks. But if you will put more support hand, like drive your thumb into the frame, you'll cure a lot of that shooting left. Drive your thumb into the frame of your support hand. You'll cure a lot of it.
Yeah, I've heard that squeezing too. Like Pfeiffer says, low left is recoil anticipation. Yeah, I've heard squeeze grip or firmer grip too can help that.
I'm talking actually place your thumb a little harder of your offhand, which will be your left, on the frame. And that will hold the gun straight while you can relax just a little bit and just worry more about your trigger pull with your dominant hand. Takes a little of the load off.
Those help targets that you mentioned too, there's something else on my list. Those are pretty cool. And whether they're always right or not, I don't think necessarily is that's helpful. But I think even if you use something like that and you're a new shooter or a young to shooting, and you use something like that, at the very least, it gets you thinking about what you're doing, and I think that's very helpful. If you if you just go out there and grab the gun and start squeezing away, and you wonder why your groups are huge, and you're not really thinking about each individual part of your grip, the grip itself, the trigger finger, the support hand, all that kind of stuff. Whether you might be flinching or anticipating shots or something like that. Those things get you thinking about that kind of stuff, and I think that's very helpful. We talked about breathing. Talked about we talked about caffeine, but also eating. Right. Grab a snack on the way or something like that.
So are you going
That
to
can
ask
help.
around, or you're just throwing them out there?
Yeah, I just kind of was.
Oh, okay. Okay. I was just.
We can go down. We can go down through the line. Gizzard, what do you think?
About
sleepy.
Quick, turn on his camera and take a snapshot.
What was the question?
Who there?
Yes, no, maybe, I don't know. Can you repeat the question?
I'm sorry, I was away for a second. What was the question?
That's cool. Things to help you, and things that you gotta take into consideration if you're trying to become more accurate shooter.
I find you read all the comments in your videos when you post pictures of yourself shooting, and everybody else will give you tips on what you need to do.
whether you want them or not, huh?
You mean everybody will dog you for the rest of your life?
Actually, some of them were trying to be helpful, and I did get some helpful advice. A lot of it was I was out of practice. I hadn't been shooting in a while, which is when Sarge told me you need to be shooting at least once a month. He said it's a perishable skill.
Even if it's just a magazine. A box is better, but even if it's just one magazine, just get out there, do something.
So that would be my answer. I mean, yeah, I do lots of things wrong. I never was the greatest shooter in the world, but I want to get better,
Now, Sarge, is there a capacity limit to that magazine?
No capacity limit.
Okay.
The higher, the better.
But if you only got 10 rounds, well, you only got 10 rounds.
New York, you're only allowed. Yeah. Yep. Grim, what do you think?
Probably the Sarge was talking about, because I try and focus on that, because I don't have much feeling in my right hand, and my finger placement is just wherever it is. So
from punching all those students.
Probably, you hit the cinder block walls, it kind of does nerve damage. But no, yeah, because I'll do it with my thumbs forward, and like Sarge said, I got less feeling in my right than my left, so I'll make sure I'm just doing that, and then just kind of the mental part, like Dead Horse was saying, you do it in that pause, make sure you're kind of just going through the motions in your head as well as like dry firing at home too. I mean, go through that, build that muscle memory, because if you're not shooting once a month or so, or every so often, yeah, it's going to take a couple magazines.
Kingpin?
For me, it's getting familiar with the trigger, especially if it's a new gun. Just being able to understand, where it's going to break at, where the trigger is going to reset, and different stuff like that. And I guess the best way to dry fire in is really the best way for me to do that. But that's what I try to figure out the most, is how that specific trigger is going to pull.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I had on my list too was something that I do, that I focus on when I'm trying to tighten my groups up, is really squeezing the trigger slowly, bringing the slack up, and then really, really slowly, pulling that trigger back till it breaks. I almost try. I kind of in my mind think about it almost like being a surprise, trying to go slow to the point where, when it does break, it's almost surprising. It tends to slow me down and help a lot. Night Strike, what do you think?
Everybody makes fun of my accuracy. Don't listen to me.
Mad Crapper, what do you think? First of all, get a gun that works, right?
Wrist braced.
Wrist braced, right? Right.
Focus on the front sight. Don't get yourself looking at the target or the rear sight, and you gotta focus on that front sight.
Kingpin's taking off. I'll see you, buddy. Gizzard, you gotta hop out. You gotta hop out. That's all right, man. Hope you feel better.
I'll try to hang on for a couple minutes, but I'm not feeling real well.
That's cool. Patriot, what do you think?
I was going to say the food thing. Make sure that you eat before you go, so that you're not starving and shaking or whatever. With me, it's obviously a little different. I mean, obviously the grip that you practice with your dry fire and stuff, but I try to stay kind of away. I get away from especially indoor ranges. I try to get with a little space in between so that I can hear better. And make sure you bring obviously good batteries for your pro, but that helps out a lot as far as because I obviously I'm focusing on sound and stuff like that. So, but yeah, you want to make sure that you have a good grip, and I don't know. I mean, in self defense, you're not really going through a lot of this stuff, but for accuracy, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
You don't want to be shaky, and you want to make sure that when you're shooting, you're doing it with either what you're going to be wearing. You don't go in with your shooting vest and all sorts of weird stuff unless you're one of them people that wear that all the time, I guess. Unless you're a competition guy and you're laying prone and stuff like that. But that's a little different. You want to make sure you're doing it like every day.
Sarge, what do you think?
About what?
What are some things that maybe you focus on, or you think people should focus on if they're trying to tighten their groups up? Things out of the obvious, you know what I mean? Like obviously, some people shoot different guns better than others, and you talk about trying different ammo. I've got a couple other things too, but you got anything that hops into your mind there?
Shoot on a reduced size target.
That's a good one.
Shoot a smaller target. Like I said, figure out where you tend to, like I tend to shoot left as well, because I have a sympathetic reflex. If I make a point to get my finger further on the trigger, I bring it back a little bit right. But if you're trying to draw and shoot fast, trigger placement's going to be where it naturally goes. It may not go all the way over there for the proper, target shooting stance. So that's why I use a little bit stronger left hand to keep them on target a little bit more. Work on different things, because some days you may want to shoot for just accuracy. Some days you may want to shoot for like more of a self-defense scenario, trying to get some shots off quicker. And there's several things you can do, but the main thing I would suggest is shoot a smaller target, because you may be nervous at first and you may miss a little bit, but next thing you know, you'll be hitting just as well on that half-size target that you did on the full-size target before you realize it. So, in practice.
Yeah, that's a good one. Using a smaller target, I like that a lot. That's a good. Because you might be shooting once you get dialed in on it, it's going to be really good for your confidence too, and confidence is a huge part of it. If you start off with a smaller target and you're missing just left or just right, and eventually you start making hits, that's really going to help your confidence a lot.
Oh yeah, and like I said, if you're going to buy steel, don't buy the full size IDPA target. I mean, you can. I'm not saying don't, because if you're going to shoot at distance, but buy a 2/3 size, buy a 3/8 size, and when you get used to shooting that size target, when you put up a full size like a B-27 with the one you see all the time, it's going to look like it's the side of a barn, and it's not even going to be a challenge to shoot the center out of it, to a degree, So shoot a small target.
Yeah. Seven Wonders, what do you think? You got anything?
Well, as I mentioned before, the main thing I focus on is my stance, but I also try to concentrate on my grip. Because I don't know, I when I was a kid, I kind of shot one-handed, a little cowboy, I guess. But anyway, so I focus on that. But I do have a tendency to shoot, I don't know, an inch or so low and a half an inch or so right. I'm pretty consistent, but I always tend to be just slightly low and right. Now, maybe that's a new question. Does anybody have any thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, I mean that's what we're talking about. I mean, there's.
Are you right or left-handed?
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm right-handed, Sarge. Did you catch that? I'm right-handed, Sarge.
That's not the norm for a right-handed shooter to shoot low right.
Well, I've never claimed to be normal.
Well, maybe he has to shoot low right because he's hanging low left. Just he might have to shift over.
Night Strike might be onto something there.
Mm-hmm. But that's you mentioned stance too, and stance I think is a huge thing for some people. There's different stances out there. It's like isosceles and Weaver, and there's other ones I think too, right? Those are just the two that pop into my head. I'm not sure. Not sure if there's other. If anybody knows of any other ones, let me know by name.
I tend to shoot Weaver. I've got I put my. Well, it's just better for my back. I kind of have to do that out of necessity. So I drop my right leg about a foot behind my left.
Yeah, I tend to shoot. I don't shoot with my foot that far back, but I tend to shoot. I shoot Weaver too. My father-in-law shoots isosceles. He's very postured when he shoots. He's just very regimented. He's been shooting, for years. But
I shoot Bogart, like Humphrey Bogart.
How's that?
From the hip.
Don't shoot the dad. It's rude.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was Here's looking at you, kid.
70s FBI, old school FBI looking.
Kind of crouched down, kind of like obnoxious after he realizes that chocolate bar was a laxative, kind of hunched over.
You got to crouch down and hold it straight in front of you.
We'll see.
And have your fist over your heart.
What you got to figure is I'm shooting hands on. I'm not shooting across the parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I'm going to shoot right, up through. And
I would suggest practicing both stances because there's a theory that, and I always shot Weaver growing up, but when you get into law enforcement, they teach you to shoot isosceles. They don't make you shoot isosceles, but they teach you because they said the overwhelming majority of the time that when confronted with a threat, a person is going to face it. They're not necessarily going to blade off from it, like in the Weaver stance. They said you're going to face it. So you may want to practice the isosceles a little bit because that may be what you do if when the chips are down, you may face directly to your target. I'm not saying you're going to miss if you never practice it, but it might just be a good idea to be a little more familiar with it.
Yeah. Glimtech, you popped in. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, thank you, sir. Thank you for the invite. Finally got in.
Yeah, no problem.
And
what do you think?
I'm gonna agree with Sarge. Well, there again too.
People always do.
Well, now I understand. I come from the old school, so when we were first taught how to shoot Weaver, and the philosophy behind that was a thinner target, harder to hit. Mm-hmm. Now it goes to isosceles because, well, now you got body armor on, and usually you don't have body armor on the side, so you have it on your chest and your back. So if you're going to get hit, better to get hit in the body armor than it is going to be getting hit in the side and going through the vest. That's Absolutely. The philosophy behind a lot of them right now, at least around here anyway.
That's a good point. You're actually, but even though you're a bigger target, you're a more protected target, kind of, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And my big thing is, like I tell people, when I go to class, when I have them in class, dry fire, dry fire, dry fire, dry fire, and then when you get tired of dry fire some more. Just sit there in front of the TV and just pick something and just dry fire. Unless you're using a 22, it's not going to hurt a thing. Do that all day long. But that's probably the easiest. That's the quickest way. And 7 has a weird one with his low right. And the only thing, I've only seen that one time in a right-hander, and that's actually my brother, who is actually a left-hander, but he shoots right-handed. And his was just too much finger. He was up over the front knuckle, or up close to the first knuckle.
Well, that could be. That probably is realistic. I'm gonna have to take a look at that next time. I'm gonna try to think about it until I'm actually grabbing the gun. But yeah, that could be it, because I do tend to grip toward that first knuckle. I know that. So
like I said, my brother used to have that same problem. He was, like I said, a lefty. He shot right-handed, but everything he shot was a hair right or right and low. And it was like, then he started thinking about, okay, well, if I move my finger back a little bit, then everything's straightened out. So.
Well, thanks very much for the tip. I'm going to pay attention to that next time. That could be it.
Hey, that's what we're here for.
See, I had thrown a whole list. I'd thrown a list together, and we talked about most of them. The help targets. I talked about squeezing the trigger slowly, finger placement, breathing, eating, trying different guns. I mean, some people just don't shoot certain guns well. The grip is a little bit big, and the trigger's farther away. Sometimes there's certain guns you're just not going to shoot well, right? Different ammo, grip style. The way you hold the gun. Some people. Some people put that left finger, that left index finger on the front of the trigger guard. Some people don't. Some people, there's lots of different grips out there, and you gotta, maybe one of them is affecting your accuracy. Who knows? Another one for me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, let her rip.
I was just gonna say the one thing I forgot to mention. I think this helps a lot. Although I'm still consistently low and right, but I usually take anywhere between 4 and 6 guns with me when I go to the range. I just feel like that makes more sense. And I take anything from a 22 to, my 357 Magnum and everything in between. And I think it makes sense to shoot different guns back to back, so you don't, get too used to one, I guess.
Yeah. One of the ones that Sarge says his favorite shooting tips are an Indiegogo. That's funny. That's weird.
Buy a passion tip.
Yeah. Thanks for coming in, Giz. One of the ones that gets me, especially during the summer, and I am pretty cheap when it comes to like eyewear, eye protection and stuff like that. Like I've never owned a high-end set of, shooting glasses, but during the summer I have a hell of a time with like glasses fogging up and, when it's hot and you're sweating and stuff like that. And that's where.
Wait, you wearing glasses?
Huh?
You wear glasses?
Shooting glasses.
Okay, shooting glasses. Okay.
Yeah. Not like reading glasses or anything. No, not yet. But no, like you put a pair of glasses.
Soon, you're getting there.
Yeah, I am.
I mean, I have to wear corrective lenses, so.
Yeah.
I'm stuck with it.
Yeah, I mean, what's nice is, nowadays there's so many options out there for protective lenses that you can wear. That are prescription, so it's kind of nice. So I have a hard time with like glasses fogging up. I don't know. I guess it's a fat guy thing. You know, you got a big fat face, and you know, there's not a whole lot of room for your glasses. These users just, you know, spit on them and wipe them off, and that's kind of what I was going to say was, and one of the things we were talking about earlier was Sarge was talking about is, you know, shooting in like a cadence or something like that. If my glasses are fogging up, and kind of take them off, wipe them off, or do whatever, put them back on, try and get that shot off before before they fog up again. So I find myself like rushing my shots, and
midnight
that gets to me too.
I was gonna say, you know, it depends on your humidity, you know, as well.
Mm-hmm.
I have that same problem, but when it happens, I try to pull my glasses out about a half an inch. I know that's not
I do the same thing.
Yeah, but yeah, that's the only way I can see, because same thing happens to me, you know, in fall, summer, and, you know, a little bit in the spring down here in NC, but yeah, I have the same problem.
Yep, and I find myself like you wipe them off, you put them back on, and you start seeing them fog up a little bit, and you're like, ooh, and you know, not such a big deal with pistol, I guess, but you know, with rifle, if I have like the 308 out or something like that, and I'm shooting long distance, or you know, it's only 100 yards for me, I can't shoot longer than 100 at my range, but yeah, I find myself like rushing a little bit, try and get maybe 2-3 shots off.
Try to find yourself some anti-fog lens cleaner.
Yeah, I should.
I know they used to have those, and I know Wally World here in Arizona carries them, and it's just like a regular cleaning lens for your lenses, and they actually work pretty good because I have the same problem. I'm a fat guy with glasses.
Really now, Travis, is it really that you can't shoot longer than 100, or you know you can? It's just you won't hit anything.
Oh no, my range only goes out to 100 yards, and you know, yeah. Now I've been wanting to get it out to my father-in-law's range. You can shoot up to 300 yards, and then there's a 1,000-yard range in Western PA. If you ever watch Coda Boy's channel, he goes out to a range out there. I forget what it's called. I always RL knows it, and I always forget, but that's a really nice range. Man, I'm beat. So what else did I have here? You know, different guns and stance, eyewear, ear protection is another one. If you get you know, some cheap ass ear pro that's making your ears all sweaty and your ears hurt and it's too tight, that kind of stuff. That was one that sort of popped into my head when I was thinking about it, because you're fiddling with it, and you know. Look up. Yeah, he's talking about some anti-fog stuff for sport goggles that would work on glasses too. Yeah, I have to do that this summer.
Yeah,
does anybody else listen to music when they shoot?
No,
not really.
I have a set of electronic ear pro that actually has the headphone jack in it.
Well, like
it's pretty
Shaft,
cool.
like the Shaft theme song.
You like jacking it in when you're at the range.
Yeah, there you
He's
go.
listening to Charlie's Angels.
Charlie's Angels.
I'd be surprised if they didn't have Bluetooth by now, so you could listen to stuff.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
They
you
do.
just use regular Bluetooth earbuds.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. You can do
that.
That's what I've been doing for years, and at work it blocks it out fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wouldn't
say
I would do that at the range, though.
You don't do that at the range?
No, not when I'm at work.
No.
But anyway, back to the glasses really quick. Midnight, remind me, we in the summertime we sell anti-fog. The glasses already, the polycarbonate is impregnated with that stuff. If you remind me, I got to see how much they are. They weren't too expensive either.
Yeah.
And
You
most
guys
of the
are
customers
silly.
said that they did work. So
CM's overrated.
Patriot's thinks he's so cool because he doesn't have problems with his glasses.
Yeah, but I think we got him beat. We're not quite as bothered by the smell from the outhouse as he is.
Dead Horse hopped in. How you doing, Dead Horse? What's going on, buddy?
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Got anything to add to this? Anything interesting? I know you had some stuff down in the Gun Channels chat. Anything that helps you out?
Mindset. I think a lot of it is mindset. I mean, just mentally preparing yourself, kind of visualizing what you're going to do, and then, accomplishing it. I think mindset's a big thing. I really think like stuff like doubt and confidence, I think that really comes into play. I think if you're confident, you're a better shooter.
The last thing I have written on my list is minimize distractions. So yeah, and that for me comes into, that's where the like listening to music some days kind of I started doing that. I don't do it all the time, and I don't like to do it when there's other shooters there, which I don't know, I mean, I guess it's not horrible to do or whatever, but if there's other people shooting there, I tend to not do it. I just usually do it when I'm by myself. But it just helps to not think about anything.
Don't be rushed.
Right. Yep. Yep. And
how many times have you shot to Another One Bites the Dust? I just want to know. Like, how many times have you shot to that beat? I just want to know.
That's not a bad idea, actually. I tend to do it when I'm shooting more, what I would consider precision, even though I'm not like an awesome shooter. But and it tends to be
Barbra Streisand.
Not. What's that?
I said you shoot to Barbra Streisand.
Yeah.
No.
All the time. Yeah, it tends to be. I'll put like Pandora on, and I'll put like something a little not too hard. Put like Billy Joel Station on or something like that. Something.
Sing us the song. You're the piano man. Bang, bang.
Yeah.
See, so now I'll throw another clinker into that. I don't know about Sarge and how their department does it, but ours and the guys that I do around here, I purposely make distraction. So if we're out in the range, lights are on, sirens going, people are screaming, shit's flying around, stuff smashing all over the place, because you got to block that out and you got to concentrate on what you're going to do.
Yeah, combat course.
Yep, your misery. Yeah, combat courses, exactly. Yep, they've got guys throwing M80s out there. And that's a completely different world there. But yeah, you got to really, like Dead Horse said, you got to really be the right mindset for that and be willing to concentrate on what you're going to do.
Well, or like when you're shooting night fire with a couple sets of blue lights, you got to figure out which target you're actually hitting, because they're moving back. They look like they're moving back and forth.
Yeah, especially with the strobes. Now, back in my day, it wasn't too awful bad because they were rotators. So the rotators weren't as bad. But the strobes, oh, man, that'd make it go bug-eyed.
Looks like the target's jumping back and forth, side to side.
Yep.
So you can figure out when to shoot, depending on how the lights are strobing. It's pretty interesting.
So, all right. So I asked, I had a couple questions for Dead Horse. That's why I kind of wanted to make sure I tried to get him in here tonight, because I'm thinking about one of the things I want to pick up is possibly an AR pistol. Not too short. I like the idea. I mean, I know, Ape, you have like a 7.5-inch AR pistol, right?
Actually, I've got all my pistol barrels out right now because I was doing some work in my safe. I've got let's see, the one I showed you is an 11.5-inch 5.56 barrel. I've got my 7.5-inch blackout. I've got a 7.5-inch 5.56, but it's got a blast can on it. Then I've got my super shorty 4-inch 40 barrel. So, what all you wanting to know?
Well,
easy. That's just contagious now.
Yeah, no. I yesterday was, I think it was a 17-hour day for me, and I got up with the little guy this morning. We ended up going to Chuck E. Cheese, and we got home only like an hour before the show here. So
wait. You took Nerf Shooter to Chuck E. Cheese, and you didn't think to invite any of us? What the hell?
Yeah,
we did some shooting there. We did some shooting there too, man. We shot some zombies. We shot some spiders. It had like a spider laser, laser, and that was pretty good. We had a good time. So I know, Sarge, you're building, or you did do a 14.5-inch, right?
I'm gonna order the upper next week, a 14.7, after I get back from Tulsa.
I like the idea of the longer barrels. I think like the 10.5 or to 14.5-inch. Not that I'm buying anything now. I'm really not doing any research on it or anything. Like, I can't afford it now, but that seems to be sort of what I'd be looking for. Now, what I wanted to do is I started thinking about it, and I hear, one of the things I hear a lot that people have trouble with pistols is the length of barrel and the length versus the length of the gas system, the gas tube. So, this is Dead Horse's this is kind of his thing. I think he's like a super awesome with ARs and stuff. So I just wanted to have somebody in to talk about it a little bit and say, because I hear people sometimes that they'll put like too short a gas tube on it, or they'll buy one even as an upper that's already built, and then they have trouble with it. And then they talk about how it's not gassed well. So I know that's super vague, but there's rifle, there's mid-length, there's carbine, there's pistol gas systems. I don't really know much about it. So I just wanted to see if you'd come on and maybe learn me a little bit.
Yeah, my first question to you is, are we talking 5.56 caliber?
Or
are you
maybe
thinking
300
blackout, or?
Yeah, I have maybe 300, yeah.
And my next question would be, what's the gun going to be mainly used for? Is it a self-defense, bug out, vehicle type gun? Is it just a plinking gun that you're just going and having fun with? Or?
Well, in PA, it would be, I'm thinking about it for a truck gun, because in PA, you can't have loaded. Now, you could have the mags loaded, but you can't have a loaded rifle, loaded long gun in your car. But you could have a loaded pistol.
That's every state. That's pretty much every state because of hunting laws. So,
the question I have is, what is their definition of loaded? Is it you can have the magazine in, just not one in the chamber? Do you have to have them? Because here in MN, you have to have the magazine in a separate pouch, or not in the same compartment as the gun itself.
I'm not sure. I've never looked it up.
The gun can't have any ammo in it. Here's what it is here: the rifle, the long gun. That's what it is here. So, like, if you have even a lever action in your rear window of your truck, you can't have rounds in the tube.
But can't have loaded mags with a long gun. Stealth says, but is there a constraint? Like, can you have them? I guess you could have them in the vehicle.
You can still totally have them in the vehicle next to it.
So, and even with rifles, like you hear people that have like ARs, and they'll have a carbine length barrel, like a 16.5-inch barrel with a mid-length gas system, right?
Yeah.
So why do they do that?
It's the closer you're getting to the chamber, the higher and hotter the gas is to function it, and the higher the pressure is. So it's a lot more wear on your components. So that's like rifle length gas system obviously is longer than carbine, longer than mid length.
Right.
It's little less damaging on the gun, well, damaging in air quotes. And with mid-length, it's just people thought, well, this carbine system is just too violent for this action. So if we can move it out, an inch or two, it's X number or less pressure on it.
Yeah, like I bought my PSA. It's a carbine length barrel, but I think it's a mid-length. It's a mid-length gas system. So that's why, because it's softer shooting basically. Or it's easier less wear and tear.
More or less. I mean, like that pistol I showed you before we were on the air. It's an 11.5-inch barrel, but it still has a full carbine gas system on it. It's not a pistol system. And then I'm trying to remember if it was like Coulter that made prototypes early in the AR's kind of adoption. Actually, I think InRange just did a video on them because Brownell's releasing them, where it was a 16-inch barrel, but the gas system was still a rifle length. And then you run into kind of the whole timing issue of the bullet has to be out of the barrel before you have the gas system unlocked, but there still has to be enough pressure or residual pressure in the system to reliably operate the mechanism. So having the gas tapped so close to the muzzle, you only had a certain amount of time to get everything unlocked, and that's kind of why they made the carbine system shorter.
Yeah, the whole being harder on parts and all that, realistically, 99.9% of most people are never going to run into that issue, right? They just do not shoot enough out of a single gun to run into that issue. So I think it does come down to dwell time and recoil impulse and just feel of the rifle, and maybe a little bit with cleanliness, just a little bit cleaner. But I think the whole, harder on parts, yeah, it is harder on parts, but how does that come into play? Like, it's not something to worry about at all. It's
right.
It's the least thing you should be worried about.
I'm sorry.
I was going to say, so if you're thinking about 300 blackout, that's really simple. Pistol length gas system. Doesn't matter what barrel length you decide to go with.
Yeah, it's designed.
So that's real simple. That's really simple to get out of the way, whether you go 16 or 9-inch or anywhere in between, go a pistol length gas system. And the main reason because of that is reliability for no matter what you want to shoot. Now, if for some reason you wanted a 300 blackout and you were only going to shoot supersonics out of it, and you're longer than 10.5-inch barrel length, yeah, you can go a carbine length gas system if you're only shooting supers. But, why limit yourself when you're going to go a 300 blackout? The 300 blackout, the whole reason to get into that caliber is the versatility. So just go pistol length gas system. So that one's real easy to get out of the way. And then as far as 5.56 goes, I have every barrel length I think imaginable, and even some oddballs thrown in there, and multiple different gas lengths, and pretty much 7.5 inch is a fun toy, but I wouldn't consider it for a truck gun or self-defense or anything like that. To me, it's a range toy, and for a 7.5 inch, it's a pistol length gas system. For a 10.5 inch, there's pistol length and carbine length gas systems. A carbine works great for 5.56 on a 10.5 inch. There's really not a reason to have a pistol length gas system on a 10.5 inch. I think a sweet magic barrel length number for 5.56 is an 11.5 inch barrel. Personally, I think that really is kind of a magic barrel length where you're getting the best of all the worlds. You're getting something that's short, but you're still retaining a lot of velocity. I think the 11.5 inch is really good in a carbine length gas system. As soon as you hit 14.5 inches, that's where you can start looking at mid-length gas system. And 14.5 works equally well with carbine or mid-length system. So does 16. So does 18. And as soon as you go to 20, then you're looking at mid-length or rifle-length gas systems. And 18s do work with rifle-length gas systems, but 18s can be more fussy with rifle-length. And then dissipator barrels, where you're talking a 16-inch barrel with a rifle-length gas system, those can be really, really finicky, and I tend to stay away from those.
Mm-hmm. But most companies that offer dissipators do kind of a cheater.
They'll
have the front sight, but they won't have the gas hole drilled for the front sight gas block. They'll have like a carbine length system underneath the handguard. So,
yeah, they're faux dissipators, and that's actually a smart way to do it. That's actually a better way to do it than a real dissipator, honestly.
G's saying a 14.5 inch with a mid length is all that you need. Anything else is a waste of time.
No, I kind of agree. I love 14 with mid length, 14.5 mid length. I have the FN premium, their chrome lined cold hammer forged upper from PSA, and man, yeah, like that's a great barrel.
Yeah, it just seems like a really nice. It seems like a really neat thing to have. And I don't have a 300 blackout. Hell, this is the only 5.56 I have as my AR. And so just got me thinking recently with a lot of people buying them and being so popular, and it's starting to. And I like the idea of the 300 blackout versus the 5.56. I like a larger caliber. I do like 30 caliber. And it just would be it'd be a great range toy, but to have something to be able to, that's considered a pistol, be able to throw it in a case if we go, throw it in the back or, in a case or something. If we go on a road
only
trip.
have one 5.56 right now, right?
Yeah, I just have my AR. Yeah.
And that's just a regular rifle, right?
Yeah, it's a carbine length.
So the great thing about the 300 blackout pistol is once you build that pistol, now if you decide, I want a 5.56 pistol too, well, boom, that's just an upper. That's just $200 for an upper, and then now you have 5.56 too.
And that was something that I was thinking about too. Was I was thinking, well, I have this, and I really like my
and you don't even
lower.
need another bolt. You don't even need another charging handle. You know what I mean? Like you can use the same bolt, and so like you can actually, I see, just basically kind of basic uppers without the bolt carrier group for as cheap as like $140 nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
So for like $140 more, you could have a 5.56 pistol too.
Yeah.
And I will say the one thing about, since you're still kind of hemming and hawing between 300 blackout and 5.56, in the shorter barrels, like 10 inches and under, the 5.56 is a lot more blasty and a slap in the face than what your blackout is. That can be mitigated with. It's a higher pressure round.
Oh yeah.
But even my 10 or my 11.5 inch here with the standard A2 bird hider or muzzle device on it, it's not super blasty. But if you put a comp on it, it's a lot bigger smack in the face.
A2 bird cage.
Yeah.
And with that,
Rupan says get a 7.62 by 39 upper. I do like 7.62 by 39. I really like that round. I love shooting 7.62.
Oh, so in answer to your question about rifles in Pennsylvania, if you're legally allowed to possess and carry a firearm in Pennsylvania, long guns may be carried in a vehicle, but must be unloaded. They classify unloaded as no round in the chamber. Magazine may be present, but no round in the chamber. That's what they classify as a loaded firearm. So basically, you could carry it as like what we call a cruiser ready.
Right. Yeah.
That's how we carry ours.
Okay.
And if you're
that would be a rifle. That'd be a rifle or a shotgun then too.
Correct.
Any long gun?
Rifle or shotgun, classified as a rifle or shotgun. Now, an individual can carry a loaded or unloaded gun, long gun, concealed or openly, without a license, as long as it's not in a vehicle.
Right. Yeah.
So they don't suggest that you try to carry it concealed. You can run into a problem there.
And that's how I did it. a couple of times when we
magazine separate.
Sorry. Yeah, we had gone on a couple of road trips, in PA, and I took my shotgun, and and that's what kind of got me thinking about it recently. Is like, it's nice to have the shotgun, but yeah, a AR pistol and 300 blackout would be super sweet, man. Just a real compact and keep it in a bag in the back or something.
But then again, you're telling a pistol, so that completely negates that right out the window as long as you have a CCW.
Yeah.
Only seen pictures of the one I keep in my laptop bag, haven't you, Midnight?
I don't know. I think so, but I don't know.
Let me see if I got it up on the Instagrams. But please keep talking amongst yourselves. We don't. We got enough dead air as is.
Dead Horse, what do you think? What's your favorite type of bolt? Now my AR just has like a standard black regular old bolt. Why am I blanking out on
what nitride?
Nitride, yeah.
Or phosphate.
Yeah. Nitride. It's nitride, I think. But what are your thoughts on nickel boron?
No, I think it's gimmicky. Like,
yeah,
this honestly, I think it's gimmicky, and they're trying to do stuff that people have done better, 60 years ago. Honestly, like,
highly overrated.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
and because I have nickel boron bolts, right? Like I have like 5 right here. I can pull out of guns and show you, and they wear bad. They end up staining. Even high quality fail 0. I don't care what name is on it. They end up staining and discoloring and not looking as pretty as what you kind of bought them for, right? And as far as being easier to clean, I'll tell you what, a chromed bolt carrier group still way easier to clean than nickel boron is. And and I think that I like nitriding. Nitriding actually treats the metal. Okay, so when the nickel boron wears off of the surface of the metal, it's not treated microns layers deep into the metal. There's no rust protection there once that nickel boron's gone. When nitriding wears off and it looks to your eyes like it's bare metal, no, there's still nitriding impregnated in that metal several microns layers deep. So it's still corrosion resistant, right? And that's actually embedded into the metal. And so nitriding, even when it looks like it's worn off, is still doing something for you. It's actually still there. That black is, think of that as just kind of like a residue. It's like a leftover. That's not the real nitriding. That color. So I prefer nitriding, and nitriding actually hardens the metal a little bit. And nitriding just has some better properties, I think, for it. And I think nitriding is just every bit as easy to clean as nickel boron is. It's just might not look as blingy because it's not silver or gold colored or whatever fancy color. Yeah. I think the best coating is still a chromed bolt carrier group. I think that's still the most, they're pricey. You're looking at about $200 minimum. But I think a chromed bolt carrier group, that's the way the AR-15 was originally designed with. And that's what professionals like Chris Bartocci and guys that I know who really do put 20,000 rounds through their gun in 1 year, like guys who really do that shit, those guys are running like chromed BCG. So, so I listen to what those guys say, and I use a chromed BCG too in my go to war, life for liberty gun. So that's what my life depends on. But any Daniel Defense, Colt, any name quality brand I'm okay with, really, even Toolcraft, but as far as coatings, I'd say chromed or nitriding, or even I actually prefer regular phosphate over nickel boron. Regular phosphate, at least it soaks up the grease and oil and holds it.
I think mine's a nitride. I think I remember seeing it. Like it's been a while since I've only ever.
If it looks super smooth and kind of glossy, it's probably nitriding. If it looks a little bit more matte and rough and kind of chalky, then it's probably phosphate.
It's probably phosphate then. Because I wouldn't say it's like wouldn't say it's glossy looking.
and there's nothing wrong with phosphate. That's the OG. That's the original. It works. Yeah, it's cheap to do, and that's why they use it. But the fact is phosphate it sacrifices itself to resist corrosion. So phosphate will eventually wear off, and it sacrifices itself like galvanic corrosion, right? So it'll eventually will dissipate, but it works really, really good. It does. There's nothing wrong with phosphate.
I'd say this is phosphate then. Yeah, remember, I'm very new to it. Very new to the AR thing.
Where'd you get the upper from?
It's all PSA.
Okay, then it probably, I'm going to guess it probably is not phosphate then, because I don't even think they deal with phosphate PSA.
No, really? Most PSH BCGs that they sell are this regular phosphate.
Really? Because the last two uppers I got, neither of those are phosphate. Both of the ones I got weren't.
No, I have over a dozen PSA uppers, and I've bought multiples of their premium BCGs and their regular BCGs, and unless they do sell nitriding, but their most common ones are the phosphate, because that's their $49 one, their $79 ones on sale. They're always the phosphate.
Yeah,
I must have lucked out, because like I said, both of mine are really shiny, and they're
no, they offer nitriding in certain uppers. They definitely offer,
Yeah, the two uppers that I have, they aren't I guess they weren't the $299 budget ends. These were almost $400 ones.
Yeah, that's not me. I went. I think I mean, I didn't go super budget when I bought it. I definitely I spent a little bit extra money on it. I knew if I bought something super budget, I would, a month or two later, I'd be like, man, I should have got this or I should have got that, So, I got a little bit nicer stock, and I got the EPT trigger, the polished nickel polished trigger, which is really nice. And then I got a stainless heavy barrel, which I really think is sharp. I think the stainless heavy barrel and the black with black everything else is really cool. Kind of nice looking. I think it's cool.
Yeah, I like that. That's my next one's going to be probably going to be a 223 Wild. If I get the upper. Mm-hmm. But I'm thinking about going 300 blackout too, or the I guess the Valkyrie. They had a Valkyrie up. They had a Valkyrie up that was looking pretty interesting too.
Boy, that's just like, I haven't heard anything about that and for so long. The Valkyrie, it's sort of fallen off everybody's tongue, it seems like,
Yeah, which is kind of weird, because it's anything out to
that's because
the
manufacturers are still bouncing around between barrel twist rates and barrel lengths and chamber specs.
Yeah.
I predicted it. I told everyone it's going to be the same thing as the Grendel, the same thing as the SPC, the same thing as the 300 Black Hour, aka the Whisper, right? All these cartridges had a predecessor that was released. It didn't quite work. Real shooters in the community did the real R&D, figured out the problems, and then the manufacturer came out with version 2. And then that's what everyone buys, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why we have the Grendel Type 2, the SPC 2. That's why we have the 300 Blackout. That's why we have everything's gone through this 2-stage process. And I said the Valkyrie's going to be the same way. And sure enough, it has. It's turned out to be the same way, because everyone's still working on it, trying to perfect it. Because these companies are not doing their own R&D thoroughly. Yeah, they're getting close, and then they're like, well, we'll let the public figure it out.
I guess when the Valkyrie first came out, they were saying, 1 in 7, 1 in 7, 1 in 7. That stabilizes it. Now it's not. Now it's 1 in 6.5.
1 in 6 even, and 1 in 5.5 even.
Yeah. It's like, I speak out my mind here, but you can't. That's the only thing with PSA. You can't get anything unless it's a 1 in 7 in a Valkyrie.
Palmetto has 1 in 6.5 now.
Oh, do they now? I just looked on there just last night. As a matter of fact,
look for the 22-inch upper. It's not all their uppers, but I think it was the 22-inch one. Comes in at 6.5.
That's why, because I was looking at the little bit shorter ones.
Rupan's pushing for me to go 7.62 by 39. So you can get an upper and a bolt carrier group for 300.
Yeah, but then that you're stuck with that bolt carrier group. It's not really good for anything else, right? And then you got proprietary mags that are hit or miss. Doesn't matter what brand they are. They're hit and miss, because I have every fucking brand that makes 7.62 mags for ARs, and every brand is hit or miss. Every brand is hit or miss, dude.
So you're going to go with a 300 blackout, which is basically this 308. You have the interchangeability with the AR-15 mags, so you don't have to change that. If you want to shoot 5.56, you still have the ability to do that without changing out a whole lot of shit.
Yeah.
Pop the bolt carrier, pop your bolt carrier out of the 300 and throw it into 5.56, and you're ready to rock and roll.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Dead Horse, but doesn't the Grendel use the 7.62 by 39 bolt face?
That would be the Type 1 Grendel, right?
I don't remember what all they changed
So
between Type 1 and 2.
The Type 1 Grendel uses a 7.62 by 39 bolt face, but no one buys the Type 1 Grendel anymore. Everyone's on the Type 2. But yeah, if you have a Type 1, yeah, you could do a Type 1 Grendel. Spin to Precision makes a Type 1 Grendel barrel still. A couple companies do. A couple companies still think a Type 1 Grendel, even though you're not getting as high as pressure and stuff, is actually more accurate at shorter ranges than the Type 2. But yeah, you could do a Type 1 Grendel.
Here's that gun I was talking about, Midnight. This fits in a 15-inch laptop bag, so.
You have the folding stock.
Yeah, I got the law folder. Oops.
Now, how is that holding up, dude? Has that gotten loose, and what gen is that? And
I think it's a Gen.
Because I haven't really heard about the Gen 3.
It's either a Gen 2 or a Gen 3. It was whatever Brownells had on clearance, because the FD one here was like $75 less than what the tactical black one is.
Damn, usually FD is always more. What?
No, they were clearing them out.
Dang.
Or if you want to go something super short, you could always just do a pistol caliber upper, like a 40 Smith & Wesson or a 10 millimeter.
Yeah, if you have a Glock, you could, do a Glock mag lower. And then use the same mags as your Glock. And 9 millimeter out of the, longer barrel is actually not bad.
Not as bad.
Yeah, not as bad. Yeah, that's better.
Rupan says he was going to buy a 300 and they ended up getting a 9 millimeter upper and a 7.62 by 39 upper.
I mean, same lower, 4-inch barrel.
That goddamn thing.
Super compact.
It's like, yeah, fold that or unfold that again. Kind of, it's very grease gun-ish in the front.
Well, yeah, because I don't have a handguard on it. Just got a barrel nut. And, okay, full disclosure, you would have to modify your pistol bolt to work with the folder, because it's not hollow in the back like a regular AR bolt. They got extra weight all the way through it.
So, Midnight, CAC Industries just came out with a 4.75-inch 5.56 barrel. Okay, and it comes with the special gas tube and gas block and everything, right? And it's only like $135 for everything, right? It's like pretty cheap, but it's a 4.75-inch 5.56 barrel. Okay, and I think the velocity they were getting out of it on the chronograph was like in the 1600s, right? So
I'm surprised. That's a lot faster than I thought it was going to be. I thought you were going to say like 1200.
So it's a 4 3/4 inch, and the case or the length of the chamber is what, 2 1/4 inches long. Yep. So you got a 2 inches of actual barrel.
Oh yeah, about 2 inches of actual barrel. But it's still going
that would be a blast
1,600 feet
can.
per second.
And 12 feet of flame coming out the front end.
And it's the 1 in 5 twist, and they were shooting it at 100 yards, and it stabilizes projectiles, even the 55 grainers and the 77 grainers. So even at 100 yards, it's stabilizing projectiles, and it was actually shooting groups, at 100 yards. So
now, are we talking Reformation size groups or?
Oh, like we're talking like 4-inch groups at 100 yards, 4 or 5-inch groups, so it's. I call that acceptable for that short of a barrel any day of the week at 100 yards. Yeah, and they're using a red dot to do it, so it wasn't like they were even had a magnified optic. So, 5-inch groups at 100 yards with a red dot out of that short of a barrel, I call that good any day of the week. I was surprised it was stabilizing projectiles, even with a 1 in 5 twist. That's what I was surprised.
So,
buttons on your civvies.
All right, we're in a lull, so I'm gonna head on out of here since I got to be up in 5 hours.
I'll see you, buddy. Thanks for stopping in. Thanks for chatting.
Thank you. Thanks for the invite. And those of you that shoot Glock, don't be discouraged if you shoot low and left, because I've never saw anybody that shoots a Glock that doesn't shoot low and left. It's just the heredity of the machine. It is what it is. You get over it.
So,
all right, guys. Have a nice night. Have a good weekend. Have a good week, and stay safe.
Yeah.
Later, man.
I'll holler at you a little bit later on.
So, 300 blackout. So 12.5-inch or 14.5-inch is the what would be the pluses or minuses of those two?
9-inch, 9.5 to 9 inch is what it was originally designed for. Okay, so that's where you're going to be keeping most commercial subsonic loads still subsonic. So what a lot of people don't realize is if they get longer than 9-inch, even 10.5, right? So you're only talking 1.5 inch longer barrel. Some commercial loads will go supersonic in just that extra 1.5 inch a barrel, right? Let alone a 12-inch barrel or a 14-inch barrel or a 16, right? So now you're shooting subsonic loads, but you're still getting a sonic boom out of your gun, right? So you got to be mindful of that if you're not a reloader and reloading your own subsonic, or if you don't have a chronograph and stuff like that, right? Or if you don't have good ears and can really hear that sonic crack and know something's going on there, right? And so be mindful of that. But 9-inch is what it's designed for, right? Like some people go 8.5, 9, 9.5. There's some oddball ones there in 300 blackout, but somewhere right around there. I think 10.5 is kind of like the max you need. And so, the difference between about a 10.5 and a 16-inch barrel for supersonic ammo is about 150 feet per second, which anywhere within sight of 100 yards, you're not going to miss that. Out at like 300 yards, you're going to miss that 150 feet per second, right? But anywhere inside of 100 yards, you're not going to notice it. So a 10.5-inch barrel works really good for subsonic, supersonic. So does a 9 for subsonic, supersonic. So somewhere right in there is where I would recommend, But if you're a reloader, you can definitely go 16s and shoot, subsonic ammo out of 16s all day long and stuff.
Yeah, I load, and I'm not. Yeah, I load, and I'm not. I don't get to shoot much. You know what I mean? I just don't get out much. So I mean, me tailoring a load for it would. Wouldn't, for surface. Yeah. I mean, I'd be loaded.
If you're going to be shooting mostly commercial ammo, I would stick to a shorter barrel length than 300 blackout. Then, if you're going to be shooting mostly commercial ammo, then yeah.
So, Clover's out there. Clover's.
Because like I said, out of a 10.5-inch barrel, you still get great velocity for your supersonic rounds to where you can still reach out at 200, even 300 yards. And, with subs or supers, so you still get good velocity. You're still keeping your subs subsonic. you know. So, and that, like I said, that's what it's designed for, is that barrel length, right? So I would stick somewhere around the 9-inch area, right? You can go an inch less, an inch more, but somewhere around that 9-inch area. That's what it was designed for.
Yeah, I have to start looking at some, because I mean, to a lot of it, I mean, I don't know, like I say, I'm a novice shooter, right? Like, so a lot of it too is, I think maybe it shouldn't be, but some of it's visual too. You know what I mean? I think what looks good to me, and I don't know anybody with any short barrel, like any. I don't know anybody with any AR pistols really.
You want to see
I've
some?
never
I can
shot
pull out
one.
a whole bunch. I can pull out a whole bunch right now and put them on camera. You want to see some different barrel lengths and stuff? All right, give me one. Yeah, give me 1 second.
If it's, yeah. I mean, even my AK-47 was the first gun that I really shot since like my 22 that wasn't, longer, and that's 16 inch. Well, it's a 12.5 inch, and it has the muzzle brake on the end to make it legal. But so it's like the carbine length stuff is kind of new to me too. So I feel awkward thinking about something that has such a short barrel. Like, is it going to be awkward to shoot? Maybe not. I don't know. I've never shot it. That's kind of why I wanted to bring it up today. I just wanted to talk a little bit and just kind of have it like an open conversation. You're a super short one there, Ape.
One that I just showed you like 5 seconds ago.
Well, that one doesn't have a handguard, right? But what do you?
This is a pistol, or a pistol,
right?
40 Smith & Wesson.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What about the next length up for you? What do you have?
One that I had all the extra crap hanging off of.
Mm-hmm.
What do I shoot out of it? I found that.
Yeah. What barrel is that, and what is it?
It's a 300 blackout PSA 7.5-inch upper.
Oh, that's short too. Super short, huh?
No, it's not. It's like, I know, who is it? V7 or whatever makes like a 6-inch, and the Sig Rattler, I think, is a 5-inch barrel on it. But for this one, since it was the cost of that whole upper with a bolt was less than what they wanted for a V7 super shorty barrel. What functions in mine is mostly supersonics, is what reliably cycles mine. I mean, the only subs I've tried, I've actually got the box right here, are these Hornady critical, they're the subsonic Sub-X. That's their branding name on them, and it would eject them, but it didn't seem to have like enough force to go all the way back and pick up another round, which could be mitigated by putting a different spring or a different buffer in it. But yes, Clover is saying they suck. Yeah, because when I picked up the brass and looked, since I reload everything, I have a brass catcher. No, Clover, come in here and say that.
We're gonna have an ape and a monkey and a leprechaun fight. Oh man, it's gonna be good.
No, when I sorted out the brass by head stamp, I looked inside this Hornady Subsonic, and it was like still shiny and clean on the inside. So you need a link. I'll send Clover. Get over on gun channels.
You had a link there, Clover. I don't know what happened. I know I sent you one.
But even in like I've got a 10.5-inch 300 blackout that I bought because we can use, since they're pistols, I can use them for deer hunting in my area of the state.
Oh, huh. Well, I never even really thought about that.
Yeah, and
not that I hunt, but
I don't know. For me, it's just like 223 and 556 is very, as I've always considered to be, very velocity dependent for effectiveness, whereas 300 blackout, it's meant to be, it's designed for the shorter barrel and still have good terminal effect. No, well, I was getting to my 10.5-inch, which also has a pistol barrel. It didn't really like the Remington 220 grain subsonics. It just wouldn't, like, it didn't have enough oomph to cycle everything.
Gas ports.
Hey, Clover, what's going on, buddy?
I don't
You
have
gotta
mold.
you gotta watch your gas ports, man, on blackout.
Mm-hmm.
Typically they're not opened up enough. It's part of the problem. That's been an issue for a long time with subsonic stuff in blackout. People, they take the barrel and I don't know, they put a 5.56 gas port in it, and for the longest you couldn't even find pistol length gas systems. That's changed, of course, since it's gotten a little more popular. People have finally started to figure things out, things that I had figured out over a decade ago, maybe even 2. They finally started to figure out. But yeah, I would do, if you've got numbered drill bits, that's one of the easiest ways to check that gas port and see how big it is. And then open that thing up. If I don't remember. I'd have to go look up the specs on it because I don't remember now.
Can I add something to that, Clover? Can I add something to that gas port, Clover?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So I've drilled out a lot of gas ports. And one thing that I've found is on a lot of rifles, you don't have to drill all the way through into the barrel. So you take the thickness of that barrel and only open it up with your next largest. Always go up just the next largest size drill bit, right? Always go in steps.
Well, you create like a funnel because the gas, your gas block.
Called the velour. Yeah, it's called the velour. And
your
you only
gas
drill
block
halfway through that steel, and that actually speeds up that gas by creating what's called the velour. It actually speeds up the gas entering the gas block up through that barrel, up through that port. It speeds it up. So you don't actually have to drill all the way into the bore, especially if you're new, right? And you haven't done it before. So a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times, you just drill halfway between the distance between the outside of the barrel and the inside of the barrel, just halfway with the next largest size drill bit. That's it. And a lot of times that will fix a ton of gas issues and undergassed issues without going all the way into the bore.
If you're going into the bore, I go into the bore. I'm not discounting that and saying it won't work, because that certainly is helping build volume going into the gas block, and that's sort of the point. But if you're going to drill through, all you got to have is a dowel rod, man. Just put a dowel rod down the barrel and you're good. Drill slow, drill easy. The dowel rod will stop anything, and you're probably good. You run the risk of a burr, but if you're using good drill bits, you're gonna be okay. I've never seen an issue, but you definitely want numbered bits. So probably needs to be opened up. I don't know. I mean, dead horse. What do you think? About 110 thousandths or so? Dead horse? At least.
For 300 blackout?
Yeah.
It depends on barrel length. Because the longer the barrel, like on my 16-inch, I'm able to have a much smaller gas port.
Right.
On a pistol length gas system versus someone with like a 9.
That's true.
So it depends on barrel length, but yeah, somewhere around there.
Well, let's talk. We're around the sweet spot. We're talking pistol length system. So 110 thousandths. That's what I'm thinking. I don't have my notes with me, but I'm thinking 110 thousandths, somewhere in that range.
That sounds right.
And most of them I've seen are under 100 thousandths as part of the problem.
Well, especially back in the day, especially I think in a lot in the recent years, especially in the last 3 years, a lot of companies have kind of, caught on, especially the budget companies, right? A lot of the premium companies figured this stuff out years ago, but I think more recently, the more budget companies like Bear Creek Arsenal and Palmetto and stuff, they've figured it out. And now people have fewer issues.
Right.
Jorge says, dimple your barrels. What does he mean by that?
It's
or the gas block.
Yeah.
You dimple your barrel. You just put a little divot in your barrel so your gas block, the set screw and the bottom of your gas block has something to actually bite into the barrel.
Just
so
like you do,
twist or rotate or pull off.
Just like they do with the bolts.
Make
I
sure
have
you got it.
I have a 60-second video on my Instagram on how to dimple a barrel.
Just make sure you got it on there right. When you go to dimple it, that's the only thing. Yeah, I've seen people screw that up. Man, that's a booger.
Well, what you do is you have usually at least 2 set screws on the bottom of your gas block. So what you do is you put your gas block on, you tighten up the set screws, you go out and shoot it, function test it, right? And then when you come back, you take the rear screw towards the receiver, you take that one out, you use a center punch, you punch your barrel, then you take the gas block off, you dimple it, you put and with just a drill and a drill bit real quick. You don't even need a press or you don't need nothing fancy. You can do it with a hand drill. You dimple the barrel and keep in mind it's hardened steel, so you want to use a quality bit, brand new bit, right? And dimple the barrel, put the gas block on, tighten it up, you're good to go. But yeah, always go function test it and shoot it before you dimple the barrel and make sure everything is golden.
I do it in between the dimples, even. Overkill, I'm sure.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I do it in between the dimples just to make sure nothing slid or acted wonky. Yeah, always test. But yeah, I mean, gas, when you're talking blackout, gas is the number one issue, without a doubt. If you're having, cycling problems. I don't know. I mean, my SBR, that's what I was saying. I've got an SBR that can cycle 650 feet a second subsonic rounds.
Damn.
265. They're 265 grain.
Jeez.
at 650 feet a second, and it will cycle. But you're talking about, a lot of custom work and whatnot to make all of that happen too. I mean, you're talking about lightening the carrier and doing buffer work and all of that good kind of stuff.
You using Trail Boss on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can't. I mean, Trail Boss is 1680 is your miracle sub if you're hand loading. I mean, there's really no other way to go, unless there's something new that's come out I'm not aware of. Anyway.
No, it's just usually anytime you're in that six or lower range, it's usually Trail Boss.
Yeah, if you're good, with those, I mean, you have to. Even 1680, I mean, it's a weird load. It just doesn't act right if you try to do that with 1680. So you've got to have that volume.
So you're talking not Alliant, begins with an A.
Yeah, A1680 is Alliant. Yeah.
I was thinking, damn it, no, it was like some Finnish or Swedish powder or made powder that's what is it, like Ramline and Enforcer, I think, is another powder of theirs.
Yeah, you've got the Ram, you got Vitavori.
It's not Vitavori. I want to say Accurate Arms.
Accurate, yeah. Yeah, Accurate 1680, yeah.
Yeah,
that's the A1680, right?
Okay, you said it was Alliant, and I was thinking Alliant has a Power Pistol 2400.
No, it's going to be Accurate, I believe. I believe it's Accurate. Correct me if I'm wrong, somebody. But I'm thinking it's Accurate. I'm gonna go Google so I can look at the jug. Yeah, it's Accurate.
Yeah, Accurate. Yeah, because I remember looking at for like the 110 grain VMAXs and that Accurate was usually like the top performer next to 24 or next to H110.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot of other things too. So I haven't played around with anything in the last, I don't know, 3 years probably. I mean, because I was just so heavy with playing around with blackout, like I said, for years and years, starting 2 decades ago, before it was ever a blackout, right? That things change. I mean, there's manufacturers doing things like
You're
now.
about the Whisper, right?
Yeah, right, or Fireball.
The
222-300 or whatever it was.
Fireball? Yeah, when it was based off the 221 Fireball case.
Do what now?
Wasn't that based off the 221 Fireball case and not the 223 case?
Yeah, it was a 220.
I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah, but it was a
And then the Whisper,
similar.
yeah.
It was a similar cartridge, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a necked up 221. But yeah, mainly the Whisper, and that's an issue with the Hornady. See, when Blackout first come out, Hornady was already making 300 Whispers, and so they just like relabeled their freaking 300 Whisper 300 Blackout, and some of the boxes I even seen back in the day had a slash. It'd say 300 Whisper / Blackout.
Yeah, I got a couple boxes sitting over on the shelf
One
there.
of the and I've always had horrible luck with Hornady Blackout, and one of the major things, and I think this is part of the problem that you have with it, is the crimp. It's the crappiest crimp I've ever seen on factory ammo in my life, if they even crimp it at all. It's one of the things where if you put a pair of pliers on that, I bet you with very little force, I bet you could pull the projectile out. I've seen projectiles come out and get shoved up in the case and all kinds of weird things just from the action, from the loading and unloading. You know, the violence, let's say, of the AR action. I've seen that happen with Hornady. Repeatedly seen that happen.
So what brace is that, Dead Horse? Is that the SB Tactical or whatever?
The SBA3. Yeah, the one that just uses a regular tube. Yeah, so it's adjustable.
You guys see where they're making an SBA 4? Kind of like an improvement on the 3.
So I broke out like I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 AR pistols here for you.
How could I like a guy like this that has all these cool guns and I got none of them? I got none. This guy got all these, and I'm not supposed to be pissed off? The hell.
Pissed off? No. Jealous? Yes. You can be jealous, not pissed off.
Okay. All right.
Go buy them. What's stopping you?
Money.
You work your rear end off. You got get rid of some bills.
No.
Yeah.
The
right.
real Drains Nerf shooter.
Move to a cheaper place to live.
Just put it on a credit card.
Yeah.
No.
Hey, just worry about it later.
Yeah, worry about it later.
Oh.
So that's a 9mm.
Yeah, so
and
this is a 9mm. It takes Glock mags. SBA 3 brace, 5.5-inch barrel, but it has a CAC flash can on it. So this is a 7-inch handguard, and you can see that CAC flash can just barely clears. And I kind of like the inset look. You'll see that as we go through these. I like that inset barrel, filling handguard look on pistols. I do anyway. And this is just a range toy, so I don't even have sights on it or anything, because this is purely a range toy for me. Side charging. So it's a side charger, Holosun solar red dot. Odin Works extended mag release. Gibbs side charging upper, quarter circle 10 bolt, ergo grip. Strike Industries angled foregrip, which is legal for the pistol. So you don't kind of a hand stop, so your hand doesn't slip. If you have that inset look, you definitely want something on the front there,
Now you running a Gibbs carrier or
no quarter circle 10 carrier, and just
okay. I heard you say bolt, but you didn't say carrier, so I was just curious if you were running.
Well, it's all one piece, so it's it's all one. So it's the
it's
bolt.
not, but yeah, I get you. Most people, it's all one piece. Yes, I agree with that.
Well, this one is.
Yeah.
One piece.
These are the blowbacks are usually just one.
Oh, we're talking 9mm. Never mind.
Yeah, this is 9mm. It's just one solid piece.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then I got the Elfman Tactical, this push button safety. So you just push it. So it's actually really cool, but realistically, it's set up for a left-handed shooter. Like they're awesome. If you're a left-handed shooter, then it's the right way for you for a crossbolt safety. But it's still cool. It was something new for me to try. But that's a 5.5-inch 9mm. And then let's see here, grab this one. Okay. This one is a 8.5-inch 9mm. with an inset can, but not as much inset. This is a matrix arms rail.
Yeah, kind of that shark mouth look.
Yeah. And this has a two-tone gray and black build. This is my wife's AR pistol.
And that's a blade stock or a blade.
Yeah,
brace,
this
right?
is the CAC shockwave.
The CAC. How do you like that? How about as far as comfortability? The SB one looks, the SBA3, the SB looks so much more comfortable than the blade.
It is, but for a 9mm and even for the 223s, it's not like it's bad. It's not like it's, you know what I mean? It's not. Maybe if you have like a really bony collarbone or something, I can see, you know, but it's not bad, but it's not comfortable. It's not like great, right? But it's definitely better than just a 2.
Yeah.
Right? You know, the shockwave is definitely better than the 2.
Yeah, if you're going for like a lightweight or like on mine for the folding, it's just less in the way.
Yeah.
I don't like any of them. Or let me back up. I haven't shot one that I like.
Is there one that you
I'm real snobby
don't like the least?
No, not really. Not really, because
they're all equally bad.
For me, it's like, oh, I'm going to spend $450 on a pistol brace, and I could have spent $200 on a stamp and just had an SBR and been done with it and swap uppers and whatever and play around. And
actually, this with the tube and buffer and spring was like $70 for me.
Well, I'm talking about ones that I haven't tried. I mean, there's some from like, what am I thinking?
Deadfoot Arms.
Yeah, Maxim and Deadfoot, and there's some stuff like that that's, you know, $300+ or whatever. And it's like, okay, those might be okay, but man, well, I don't want to spend that on something that might be okay. And I haven't had an opportunity to play with one, so.
That's got the old, not the old style brace, but the
SBM4.
SB.
Paterade out there is making a good point. He said, do all the braces come with ATF letters saying they aren't stocks? I don't know. Do y'all guys?
Not all braces, but the CACs
no.
and the SBs do.
Yeah, my original SIG brace came with one, but my Shockwave didn't.
Here's the rub with that. That's good for whoever applied for the letter of opinion. So if they change their stuff up, you're pretty much screwed. You're not going to get any kind of a oops pass at all, as if you was to have a letter. So now I'm not telling you that if you go get a brace, you need to write the ATF and request an opinion on it. But yeah.
But isn't the rumor that people writing in asking for opinion letters or asking, hey, is this or is this not a stock? What caused them to hold on a second? Yep. Them the ATF the first time to say, yes, they're stocks, quit bothering us. Yep. And then they reversed it like, we'll say they're not stocks as long as you don't bother me.
I don't know who's writing into the ATF and getting attitude, but I've never gotten attitude from the ATF for writing in. I own probably a dozen letters for various things.
Well, it wasn't attitude. It's just the fact that they did it.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same thing of, how do I put it? It wasn't that people were writing in. It was the sheer volume of people saying, hey, is this legal?
Yeah.
Or if I do this, or if I do that, or I know it's an arm brace, but if it were in this situation to possibly maybe contact any other part of my body, is it still considered a brace kind of
thing? See, that's getting into, but that's getting into weirdness where it's, that's what they addressed with the whole shouldering thing and all of that. I don't know that they have gotten very many letters in the past. Just asking, does that turn your pistol into an SBR?
Dead horses got the turret gun.
Oh, this son of a bitch. So the one that you did, not that one, but the one you had before it. So that has, is that an SB brace too?
SBM4, yeah. And this one's actually more comfortable than the SB A3, but it's just not as adjustable, right? It's still solid and on there, and you can still put it to where you want. I think it's more comfortable, but it's just, it's not as...
It's a press fit, basically.
Yeah, it's a press fit. So it's not as cool because you can't, slim it down. But this is my 11.5 inch.
Okay. See that? Like that? Okay. Now I know, like I say, this isn't the best way to pick stuff, but to me, that looks, I like the looks of that. I like aesthetically, I think it's a really nice looking pistol.
With the
so kind of like a block style almost, right? It's not a block gun, but like the block style rifles. So this is kind of my version of a block, shorter pistol. And everything's pretty much just mil spec. Keep it simple, stupid. This is actually kind of like a Life of Liberty gun for me. So EOTech, Magpul, grip, but everything else is just mil spec. Just regular old stuff, or MFT quad rail, quality company, Surefire Light. But pretty much everything's just pretty much standard quality mil spec.
And you said, what length is that? You said 11.5.
Yep, 11.5. That's the magic number, man. This number right here.
And that's your FN Uber upper?
Yep. One of them. I got the 14.5 and the 11.5 FN upper. So this is, one.
Talking 11.5 magic for what? 5.56?
Yeah. For a pistol length. For a pistol, I think the 11.5 is just the best of kind of all of them.
Agreed. Yeah.
That extra inch is, I have a 10.5 I'm going to show here in a second, but I've shot them side by side. That extra inch makes a difference, especially at 100 and 200 yards. It makes a huge difference.
And it depends. 5.56 is so projectile dependent too. I've learned that. There's something with sectional density. There's something going on with 2.24 that, if you're talking 10, 15 grain difference on the projectile, then it's a world of difference when you're talking maybe 3 or 4 inches on the barrel. It can be like a world of difference. Same twist rate too, which is weird, but it's like a world of difference.
So this brake is like a crink style 3-piece coned brake. Let me grab a light here, and I'll
kind of like the Noveski Flaming Pig. It's got like a cone baffle.
Truncated cone.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then so there's actually kind of like a little space inside here, right? And it's awesome, man. It's heavy. It is heavy, but that's actually a good thing on a short-barreled 5.56, especially a 7.5 and a 10.5 inch barrel. It's actually a good thing I found to put some weight out there at the end of that barrel. It really makes the gun feel more like a rifle and more solid, and just it even helps me stay on target better. And these things are pretty cheap. They're like $40, and they're solid steel, and I definitely recommend them for the pistol, not only for your ears, but they do they provide a braking effect, but they don't do it with like muzzle brake ports. They do it with pressure, right? And I think it improves reliability. It adds some back pressure, so especially on the shorter barrels like a 7.5 inch and stuff, it seems to have aided in reliability, especially with light ammo like Tula. But I really dig these for the pistols, these crink style brakes, man. And
that brings up a whole other thing, talking about back pressure that a lot of people don't think of.
Yep.
I've seen some nasty stuff happen on bolt guns because of back pressure running the suppressor.
This gun fully loaded weighs like 13 pounds. And then unloaded, I think it weighs like 9.7. So you got to be careful, even with a little 7.5 inch barrel. You can get the weight up there pretty damn quick. Depending on what you're going for. But I purposely built this heavy. I purposely picked out a heavy rail, a heavy barrel, stuff like that. I didn't build this to be like some lightweight gun. I built this one to also be a toy. So this is just nothing but like a toy for me. But it's a sure of a fun toy. I never thought I would like it. I even said forever, like, oh, I'm never going to go that short of a barrel and stuff. But once I actually built it and played with it, man, it is fun. It is. They definitely bring a smile to your face.
Is that an aim point on top?
No, it's a millet.
I
have several different millet optics, and they're pretty good. I mean, I haven't had any problems with the red dots or other scopes. So
yeah, I agree with that.
I have a millet LRS. The what is it? A 5x25? Like it's like a 35 millimeter tube. It's a or 36 millimeter tube or something. It's a huge ass tube, and that's on my 50 BMG, and that's been holding up great. So
I've had a millet. I've had a millet red dot on my 458 SOCOM since before it was even built.
That's what I got. I got this same red dot on my another one of these on my 458. Yeah. That's the red dot I put on my 458. Was the millet.
It's all up great, man. Yeah.
Yeah. And then let's see here. Where's my other? Okay, here's the 10.5 inch.
And I can't see what everybody's showing, by the way. So that just in case you think I'm stupid or something over here, I'm not able to visually see what's going on.
Yeah, your cellular phone, telephone?
No, I've got everything turned off. I've been having internet issues, so hopefully they get me fixed up here before too long. I actually got had to fill out some work order paperwork and stuff the other day, so we're moving forward with getting better internet finally, but it ain't happened yet.
Fiber right out to the shed?
Yup. 100 up, 100 down, baby.
Nice.
Now the lower, is that something you added, the little skull, or or is that part of the lower?
Oh, it's added. Like it has different. Like the skull piece comes off, and there's like a regular just kind of grip piece that goes on.
Yeah,
and then they have like Spartan helmet ones and stuff. But I won.
It's just a magwell grip. It's just a magwell grip, basically. Yeah. Okay.
So that's kind of like the who does those? The Mako.
Mako Fab Defense.
Yeah, Fab Defense. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I painted the skull FD.
Oh, I didn't know they made those. So they make decorative ones. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, like the Spartan helmets and the skull, and like I got like a Punisher skull type one.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, it's a toy, right?
It's the only gun I have with the skull on it, and I put it on this gun because this is my Chinese gun. So every part on this gun, except for the barrel, and I think, no, not the carrier. The carrier was fucked up on this. So I think the barrel, and just the bolt head, everything else on this gun was subpar parts that I would not use on other builds that I had received or had gotten. And I was like, this is junk. I'm not going to use this, right? And so it was sitting down. One day, I had enough of these junk parts. Like, literally, this is like the crappiest lower ever made, the crappiest upper. The buffer tube is so scored up inside, it's not even funny, like how scored up the buffer, how bad the machining inside the buffer tube is. The carrier has shattered, like the carrier rails are all shattered and cracked and like broken off on the carrier. Like everything about this gun except for the barrel and the bolt head is just crap. Like it's just all junk. Sights, it's an NC Star optic. Like everything's just Chinese and junk, right? And the gun runs
counterfeit
great.
made pole fights.
You know, I built.
No, these are like who makes the diamond head ones? Like the diamond head.
Oh,
sights.
Troy.
These are knockoff diamond heads.
Yeah.
My I've got a buddy that
X-Mag
can't. I mean, I don't know. He might could afford it now, but I know back in the day he couldn't afford an AR. He wanted one so bad, and so I did that with him. I was like, man, I think I got enough parts laying around here. We could throw something together and see if it works. You know, it's like, oh, you got to have a lower. I'm like, I don't have a lower laying around. So anyway, he ordered a lower, and we literally out of just junk laying around here in the shop, an AR-15. He still runs it to this day. I mean, it's still clicking, man.
That's awesome.
So here's the real question: is that a testament to how not junky parts are nowadays, or more of a testament to the design of the AR system
design
itself?
of the AR-15, because the parts still suck.
And getting lucky, honestly, and getting lucky. It really is. I did have to change I don't know what was wrong, but I remember we did it. I remember I test fired and it ran away with me.
This lower is actually
one of the trigger. I don't know if it was the trigger or the hammer pin, but one of them walked, and yeah, it wasn't cool, man. About the third trigger pull, that sucker said, "Burp."
This lower's warped. The tower on this lower is warped to one side, so literally the carrier rides like right up against the buffer tube on one side, right? And like literally everything about this gun is just like absolute, just I mean everything. Like the safety was like a safety that was just like absolute garbage. The mag release was like a mag release that wouldn't work, right? Like everything about this gun is just garbage, and the gun works great. Yeah. So it's just a beater gun. Like when I go shooting and like my son brings a friend or whatever, like this is like a gun that I just can kind of hand to anybody. I don't care if they drop it. I don't care what. They can't hurt it in my eyes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You can't hurt it. Yeah. So, and it's actually awesome to own guns like that you're just not worried about. Like you don't have to worry about. You're like, oh God, I hope he doesn't like drop it and hurt my aim point, or you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, this thing actually runs pretty dang good for what it is. It really does.
Hey G, what's up?
Funny, like I'll post pictures on this on like Instagram. Like I get so many compliments on this gun, and I think it's just because of the color maybe or something. But I get way more compliments on this one than I do any of my other pistols, honestly. And this is like the cheap Chinese piece of shit, right? And this gets the most compliments out of everything, dude.
It's got to look cool, man.
Well,
Ape's like poking something out.
It's like 90% of the appeal.
Yeah, and that's what I say. Like that's what I was saying. Like I feel bad saying it. I feel bad saying like, well, I like that one because it looks better. But I mean, it's a big part of it, you know.
No, that's a big part of it, dude. Is that not a part of it for a car or your house or anything else in your life? Your clothes, your shoes, Why can't it be like that for guns, dude? For real.
Yep.
I know what's the old adage? Person walks into a car dealership, buys $100,000 car. Why? Because it was red.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm not, like I say, I mean, I'm just plinking and, and having. I want it to be reliable. You know what I mean? That's why I brought this up, because visually is what's going to draw me to something, but I want to be reliable,
I'll tell you one thing that's the honest truth, Midnight, okay? So back in the 70s, the 80s, even going into the 90s, okay, and maybe even into the early 2000s, there was a reputation of like a lot of unreliable home-built ARs, a reputation of a lot of unreliable smaller company or budget AR companies, okay? And a lot of that was machining and manufacturing processes, right? And of course, quality control. But a lot of it was the machining and manufacturing. Even companies today, like a lot of companies today are using such good CNC machines, okay, that even I'm seeing cheap companies, Palmetto State Armory, Bear Creek Arsenal, you name it. I'm seeing these companies making reliable guns that work. And is it as good as a Colt? No. Is it as good as but it's for the money. I mean, they work, and their parts work, and their stuff's in spec. And I'm seeing that more and more and more and more, especially with these budget companies, that the quality of the CNC machines have gotten so good that even real cheap ass companies nowadays are making really good stuff. They really are. That works. Just look at PSA, dude, for real. I mean, there's a reason I own over a dozen uppers from them. because they work. I mean, they just work.
Dano says, how much longer does this show run? Who knows? Probably not too much longer, but I've wanted to pick up one of the snowflake lowers, the Spikes Tactical snowflake lowers, for a while. So if I can figure out how to pull off the cost of everything, if I can get the money together this year, I think that's what I want to do. I want to use the snowflake lower and maybe I don't know. I'm still a little bit torn about getting into another caliber and getting a 300 blackout, but I really do like 30 caliber over 5.56.
Even like I said, even if you go a 5.56 upper, right? I see you can go to a Davidson Defense and get a 300 blackout upper without the bolt carrier group and the charging handle and no sights or optic, right? But it's already assembled for like $135, just a basic 300 blackout upper. Use that same BCG, swap over your optic, and I mean, like, you can get into it because it uses the same BCG. Man, you're looking like $140 more for a second upper. So it's kind of smart. Like AR-15s are kind of smart like that, And what's better than 300 blackout and 5.56 because you share that BCG.
Yeah.
Let's use that.
That's cool. I don't know. What else? Anything we're missing?
Marbles? Screws?
Yeah, I heard that.
Oh wait, that's not what we're talking about. Never mind.
I
came in late, so I don't know what all's been covered.
Oh, I mean, I think it seemed like you were pretty much at the beginning of this talk enough to know what was going on. I'm just I'd like something to maybe be able to take on road trips and stuff like that and keep it loaded. So in PA it would have to be a pistol. So that's what's one of the things that's got me sort of leaning towards an AR pistol. I just didn't.
No, it's not. That's the fad now, and you're just following the fad. That's all it is.
No, I've taken long guns with us before. Well, now that I have an AR, it's kind of nice. It's cool. Like I like it. I haven't had much of a chance to shoot it, but I do enjoy it. And I've taken long guns with us before, and once I learned that you're not supposed to keep them loaded, that's what started getting me thinking about doing it as a pistol, so that you can keep it loaded and in a bag or something.
Can you have loaded mags, just not have a mag in?
Yeah.
I think that depends on the state, on it, because and a lot of hunting laws. Most states, because of hunting laws, it is illegal to have a loaded gun in your car, loaded long gun. Right. Now, whether that's whether they consider one in the chamber or just a magazine in the gun loaded, that's up to the state's definition.
There's an awful lot of Texans right now riding around in a pickup truck with a loaded 22 Magnum and a flashlight. I can promise.
Yeah.
Traveling outside your state with an AR pistol is a long discussion just by itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, going through a state like Chicago or
or just changing counties in the same state. If I go from one county to another county, I can go from perfectly fine to a felon just by driving through.
Well, a lot of them have caveat for through traffic. So, it's one of them things where, it's up to local law enforcement, unfortunately, on a lot of that stuff. And
we have towns
but
where they're banned.
Like Michigan and those states have rules against what's a pistol and what's not. So just because federal law defines something, state laws can redefine or further define. And then if you drive in like all like, hey, no big deal, like that's where I guess Dan was trying to say, right?
Yeah. Example would be in Michigan. And with the AR pistol, they also have an overall length requirement in addition to defining the receiver.
So you could be like, I'm in compliance with the way that I'm carrying it, but they're like, yeah, but you're not able to legally own this in this state. So
some of the pistols, braces come with slightly shorter tubes. So in case you live in Michigan or a state like Michigan that has an overall length caveat.
Yeah, but traveling has nothing to do with the residency of your state, though.
Yeah, but you have to obey the law. You always have to obey the law of the land. So if the law is, for example, that you have to inform, you have a duty to inform. It's your job to, if you're a traveler in that state, to mute when you're not talking because it's super loud, but also then to know if they've got like a duty to inform, or in the case of like this gun isn't legal here. You can't just walk into California, for example, with certain stuff. Like just because you can own it doesn't mean you can own it in California.
Right.
But what about through traffic though is the thing. And California may be a bad example for through traffic.
No, it allowed what you're talking about is the 1986 Firearm Owner Protection Act, which allows for allows you to drive through. That before then they could say because you can't own a firearm here, you can't drive through here at all.
Okay.
But now you can't drive through there with a gun that's not in compliance with that state. But again, that's gray area. So yeah.
And even exactly. And even with that Firearm Owners Protection Act, right? Even with that, all it takes is one police officer to say these magic words. We'll let the judge figure it out.
Yeah. Oh, you're always going to jail. That's a given. You're going to jail, and then, theoretically, it'll all come out in court. But yeah, you're still gonna. If there's you can be in 100% compliance with everything. And if a local person picks you up and says you're not, then what are you going to argue with them and die? You're going to go to jail and hopefully eventually make your case.
And the whole thing that we want to avoid is just that whole going to jail and going through all that in the first place, right?
Yep.
So
yeah.
Yeah, I don't think
I'll tell people this, and I know this 100% for a fact, unless it's changed within like the last 3 months. But in Utah, there is no duty to inform a police officer if you're pulled over, if you have a firearm in your car, even if they ask. But I'll tell you one thing right now, Utah police officers have gotten, they pretty much assume now every single person has a gun. So they don't even ask. They
lying
just
to a
assume,
police
you
officer
have
a
guns.
crime?
What's that?
Isn't lying? I thought lying to a police officer was a crime.
You do not have a duty to inform them, and it's written in state law. You can look it up. Type in Utah. Type in.
I just want because
even if they ask, you can say no and still have it in your fucking car because we have constitutional car carry basically, right? So it's the same as having it in your house. You have no legal obligation here in Utah to inform a police officer that you have a firearm. Period.
Castle.
So duty to inform is different. No duty to inform is not the same as like a license to lie. So I don't know what it is in Utah, but what Dan was saying is just because like in some states you have to alert the law enforcement when stopped.
Well, it's like you don't have to disclose at all, even if you're asked. That's the way it's literally written in there. The words like even if they ask, like even if you're propositioned by a police officer, do you have a gun? You can say no. Because that's how it all got started, was with the sheriff. The whole reason this got passed was because a sheriff got pulled over and didn't tell the police officer who pulled him over he had a gun, and then that became a thing, right? Because the cop flipped out when he found it, and then the other guy was a cop, so he's the one who actually passed this whole thing and got it for us. And one of the stipulations, for real, it really is a real thing in there, that even if they ask, we can say no. We have no duty whatsoever to inform, to disclose anything, even if asked about a firearm. That is our private business. Which is awesome. Every state should be like that. Because like I said, they don't even ask you. I remember when I'd be asked if I got pulled over for a speeding ticket or something if I had a firearm in the car. They don't ask you nothing nowadays. Nothing. They just assume everyone has a gun. which is the way it should be. They treat everyone a lot better, I think, that way too.
Mm-hmm. All right then. So are we done? We done with that topic? Anybody else got anything? It's not. I did have a question for you, G.
Also known as Mr. 9mm.
Mr. You have to say it like that? Is that part?
Yeah,
is that part of
say
it?
like that,
Mister. You gotta say. You gotta drag it out.
Millimeter.
We watched that last week or 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago now, maybe week and a half ago, whatever. That movie, Triple Threat on Netflix, which I thought was, I don't know. I didn't love it. But somebody asked you if you saw it, or somebody was asking about it on Match Chat, and you said you hated it. But you seemed like you really hated it. What was it about that movie that you didn't like? I've been wanting to ask you.
The fact that it suggests in its tone and in its plot that, number one, our military is a bunch of idiots who are only doing the job because they're looking for a comfortable way to make money, and that two, that at the highest level, the people that take longer to be in school than other people's enlistments, that they're going to suggest people of that caliber who, 100 people train and two will come through the training and become that level. They're going to suggest that those people, once they're done with an enlistment, which is done in an area of the world where they have intimate relationships with the people, and oftentimes go back to work as civilian people that mute when they're not on because it's super annoying to have noises go off. They'll go back and work with these people. They're going to suggest just nonchalantly for a plot point that they would go back because they feel like they didn't get enough money, that they got too sore in the military, that somehow they're owed, and they're going to go do something criminal in the same place where they worked, and they're going to just blow through all that for a freaking movie. And when they got to the point where the guy goes, look, I know that when he has to literally explain that we're going to deliberately do things that would be against everything that you'd think we'd be for, done. Why are they trying to normalize that type of psychotic bullshit just for a movie? No. You can make an action movie with actual SEALs, and you can go watch that movie, and it doesn't suggest that our military is a bunch of weak cowards who are looking for money, and when they get sore or tired that they quit and they become criminals. Fuck that movie. Fuck Hollywood. Fuck anybody that would just nonchalantly allow that type of change in culture. Fuck no. That movie's fucking cancer. That movie fucking sucks.
I thought it was really... When we got about 2/3 of the way through it, I'd said to the wife a couple times, or even afterwards, like, I just didn't. I thought it was really shitty that they threw so much like greed into it, that like they were just, especially like Affleck's character.
That movie hates this country. Those characters, those actors hate this country. Every fucking thing they stole that was kind of cool is from a book called Kill Osama bin Laden. So they just ripped off some actual story. The guy who wrote this is just some writer. He's got no interest or any motivation to actually give a shit. These are people that hate our country. They hate our way of life. They're willing to throw our elite military and just the casual military in general under the bus to further their warped vision of what they think they have no idea what it's like to serve. They have no idea what the drive and the motivation would be for anyone to do something altruistic for another human being. They see a gun, they're idiots, and they create this kind of crap to cause confusion. And it's a cancer. It's literally the shit that liberty is becoming rusted over because of. That is the rust that ruins us. So watching shit like that and being like, oh, it's an action movie and it's valid is worse than sucking Sally Struthers' slimy spit.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't think, I don't know. It wasn't, I didn't like it. I just, I mean, I was interested to hear your thoughts on it because I knew you didn't like it. And I wasn't, I just wanted to ask because, I can't really see things necessarily from your perspective or any other vets. You know what I mean? I'm assuming that's
nothing to do with being a veteran. It has to do with just understanding that they're going to take. That's like saying a bunch of cops are going to sit around. It's like watching a movie where a bunch of cops just sit around going, "Oh, we thought being a cop was going to be an easy life, and then we were going to get rich, and we're not rich and easy enough. Like, let's become criminals, and that's cool." Like that's like watching a movie like that and not seeing that it's slightly adjusting our society, that it's glamorizing garbage.
Well, there's a lot of bad cop movies, though, right?
Oh, I know.
Well,
I think this particular movie is one that people are going to go, "Oh, Ben Affleck is in it."
Well, but I guess
this movie, and it's
I've never seen this, but so I've got a question though. Since we're talking about the bad cop, bad cop movies thing came up. With most of the bad cop movies, though, it's like bad cops, but then there's like a good cop or something, right? Trying to figure it out or take them down or whatever. So with this movie, there was really they weren't the good guys or the bad guys. They were just kind of like the whole premise was just them being bad.
It was as if a unit was going to go down and take their entire stint, like their entire term in service, and work together to save this like area of South America. And then when they get all done and they go back home, right? Like instead of the end of Rambo, where the guys are just meeting up to say, lick each other's wounds and, say hey before they all die of Agent Orange. Like in this movie, everybody's just like, "Oh, I got out of the military. And even though I can do a job that takes, again, more time and training than some people's entire enlistment, and I got out and I got through all that, I can't run a management job at a bank or whatever. Like, oh, I'm miserable. I can't be a riveter. It's so difficult to do like these like jobs in society because I was a killer and the military made me a killer. And all I did in the military was kill. And all I have is this need to kill. And I have PTSD because I need to kill so much, and the military made me into a killer, and they owe me, and it hurts, and I've got broken bones because of all the killing I did." So then they go down to South America and they're like, "You know what? Why don't we just take a look and let's just see what'll happen if we just rip off this cartel guy?" And I don't even know what happens after that because they have this big speech about like, how we all signed our name on a line that said we would defend the Constitution on it. Let's just not do that instead. Let's just be a bunch of cowards and weak, and let's just be criminals and screw all that, even though we signed our names over, and let's just that's when I quit watching the fucking movie.
Yeah.
And not everybody knows that you actually do sign a piece of paper.
You sign a piece of paper and you put your hand up in a room, just like in the movie.
I mean, it's not just to put the hand up thing. You're giving away secrets, mister. There'll be a penalty to pay. I'm gonna send an Army Ranger on your ass, Mr. 9mm.
He put a little extra spank on it that time. He meant business.
Yeah. I think he deserves all the 9mm love he can get.
I don't know what the hell the Juice is talking about out there, but he's talking a lot. There's Lockjaw. I saw Lockjaw was out there. Lockjaw put a really cool picture of his dad up the other day for what's it called? Is it just called Vietnam Veterans Day? Was that?
Yeah, that was declared by not declared, but presidential order by Trump, because that was the last day someone was in Vietnam, I believe.
Mm-hmm. He put a really cool picture of his dad on a tank, sitting on the front of a tank. It's a pretty neat picture.
So the last day people left Vietnam was March 29th, like Dano said, whatever, 60, 70 something, or whatever year it was.
72, wasn't it?
I want to say something like that. No, I was looking to see if
73.
I was looking to see if Dead Horse read inside. I just typed your name because you were talking.
I just like to answer other people's questions.
But so whatever 70, whatever it was, March 29th, 1970, whatever was the last year somebody was like left Vietnam or whatever officially, and then it wasn't until Obama created Vietnam Veterans Day during his presidency. What Trump did is make it a reoccurring thing. So I don't know why the hell Obama made one day Vietnam Veterans Day. I think it was like the something anniversary. He said this should be the anniversary day, and then Trump said, "Well, let's make that a national holiday." So we had never had a Vietnam Veterans Day until Obama and Trump. How crazy is that?
The only thing that bothers me about it is something that, and this has been a long time thing, is how Korea gets to be just an apostrophe in our history. When there are a lot of men that died.
My poor grandfather, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it does never, you hear, and you don't hear a lot of World War One even. It's World War II and Nam seems to be
right.
The two that all you always hear about.
Those generations are alive still. The Korea ones, those guys were all World War II and Korea, or else it was all Korea and Nam.
Well, there's still Korea. There's still Korea. A lot of Korean vets.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, there's very few that are just Korea. Like it happened so close to World War II. Like there's a shit ton of them that were both, and then there were a shit ton of them that were in Korea, and then went into World War II. And those, I mean, Vietnam, those were like the old salty guys. So all I'm saying is, I think their other wars that they were in overshadowed the veterans, and then there was just so few. It was only 2 years or whatever, right? 3 years. So it just was so short that not very many people were only in Korea zone.
Yeah. But I'm just saying that there were still a fair number of people that died. I don't recall the number off the top of my head, but it's not like a low number.
It was pretty rough too.
It was a lot. Yeah, I was back in the days of sending people in to die in waves and shit too. Yeah, because the fucking Chinese were doing the same.
Yeah, it was a pretty rough. That was a pretty rough war. To hear my grandfather talk about it.
I don't know much about Korea.
You don't want to live there?
The other thing is, you just had World War II, and then you had Little Police Action Korea. Those guys weren't coming home and being like, "Hey, we're veterans." You know what I mean? Like they were coming home and being like, "You know, that sucked," but they just saw a world war happen. So it's just a different world back then.
How soon after World War II ended was Korea?
1950.
Korea was 50. World War II was.
Oh, was that?
45.
Oh, I didn't realize it was. Okay.
50 to 52.
Yeah. I didn't realize it was that early.
People were literally getting done with World War II. Like, you know, the guys that were actually fighting were like literally getting done doing their things, and then started going to Korea.
It was 5 years later, but
I'm just saying, cleaning up and like doing their thing, getting their boats put back together, and then it's like, now let's go fight. Like you had the same fighting units a lot of times, like guys that had just done this before.
Well, the Army had also, and as well as the Navy and Air Force, had gone through a massive demobilization in that previous 4 years.
Yeah, but I'm just saying they didn't get rid of everybody who knew what they were doing.
Right. So a lot of the people that were left were people with deep experience.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They like, just I'm doing this.
But you know, they always need E1s, E2s.
All right.
Like we have the generals and colonels and brigadier generals of chats during the week, and then on the weekends is the
time for the enlisted crew.
Just a cook. Finish it up with the cook. Seagal was a cook. What was that movie? What was the movie that Seagal was the cook in?
The Cooking Seal.
The Siege. Yeah. Under Siege. Yeah.
Yeah, Gary Busey was the one that stole that one.
Yeah.
So Ape jumps out of the cake in this one?
Why would I jump out of a cake?
It's a banana. He jumps out of a banana cream pie. It's a little bit different, but you know, same.
It's part of the movie.
Yeah.
Dead Horse, are you reading the internal chat here? Or are you on a computer?
Okay, yeah. What's that? I don't see anything.
I'm just going to ask. Do you know a coupon code for BCM? Is there a coupon code for BCM? Bravo Company.
BCM usually does not do coupon codes, as far as I know, except for like just once in a great while, like maybe for like Valentine's Day or something, right?
Okay.
But most of the time they do not have coupon codes, as far as I know. But I'll look.
I brought this up last week. I was watching Ben Shapiro has a show on Sundays, and Bravo Company is one of his sponsors. And I can't remember if they had a coupon code or not, like a coupon code.
Oh, like on his channel? Yeah, like one of his sponsors. Yeah.
Yeah, it's his Sunday show. It's the Sunday. I forget what it's called. Shapiro Sunday something or other. It's the Daily Wire, but it's their Sunday show that he does, and he does interviews.
Whenever I hear about that guy, I always think about the Shapiro attorney from O.J. Simpson.
Yeah.
I'm like, Shapiro, he's still alive?
Yeah. He did. He had Crenshaw on. They've been really good. I just started watching them, but his interviews have been really. He has a lot of really cool people on, really interesting people. And Bravo Company last week's episode, I think it was, or the week after. Bravo Company was one of the commercials or whatever, and I feel like he might have had some sort of coupon code.
I'm looking.
Get another one for.
I'm looking, and it doesn't show a code on the ad that he runs, the ad spot. It's just the website for there's no slash and then something else behind it.
Oh no, he did have a holster. There was a holster company this week that had a coupon code, and I can't remember what it was though. But he had he's really interesting to listen to. He's pro gun, and another one too. I know a lot of people like Yankee was talking shit about active self protection. That John Correa, but after New Zealand, John Correa put out a video on his other channel. It's like Active Self Protection Extra or whatever, and it was a really good, just sort of pro Second Amendment video. It's pretty cool. Dan Crenshaw's a good dude. I'd love for him to run. He seems awesome. It's real straightforward. It's nice. It's nice too because he seems to be pretty comfortable, sort of speaking up on issues on both sides. Yeah. He's said a couple things about Trump.
Plus, having a president with an eye patch would just be sweet.
Bad ass, right? Yeah. Yeah.
No, we do not need Yankee for president.
Yeah. But it's just kind of neat. It's nice to see somebody that's willing to, to speak out against, sort of liberals or whatever you want to say. But then at the same time, he's, hop on Twitter and he'll say something about Trump, be like, hey, you shouldn't be saying this, or you shouldn't have said that. I don't know. It's refreshing, I guess. Makes you like the guy. Whether that'll hurt him or help him, I don't know, but I liked it. Had a good sense of humor too. No code needed.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was a spoof or what that was.
I tried that one thing, but no, it didn't work.
The couple that I saw seemed to be very particular, like on a pistol grip or on just individual items. So rather than here's 10% off on AR parts or 10% off on optics or something a little bit more broad, I did not see. I'm going to a place in let's see, today in just under a week that might have something at a good price. So let me know and I'll keep an eye out.
Maybe.
No guarantees. It tends to be older stuff, but you never know.
Good luck finding it. That's going to be the key.
Yeah. You could probably make you could probably, I guess, hey, you wouldn't be able to do it in time, but it would be awesome to see somebody do like almost like they do at junkyards. You know what I mean? They have a listing of stuff and where it is. Man, if you could do
shopping list sort of thing.
Yeah, kind of like if you were going in there, you'd be like almost like an an index or whatever in a book.
Was it not? It wasn't in. I don't think, and it may have been, but I'm not thinking it was in November. I think it was in April. But the table next to us, and it may have been in November. Now that I think about it, but either way, the table that was next to us. They had like these poster board things on the wall, and I was trying to figure out like what the crap was going on. What were they doing there? Whatever. And then finally I asked them because they kept having all these gun cases around. They didn't really have anything on their table, like selling anything. There was just gun cases sitting around, and there's pieces of poster board writing or something on the wall. They were like, basically they were a gun shop or whatever that was like headhunters. And so they go in there and they slap these like want lists or whatever on this poster board on the wall behind the table. They buy a table so they got a camp, right? Like a home base to bring the stuff back that they buy. And basically it was like 4 of them, and like 3 would go out searching and one guy would sit at the table and guard all of the stuff basically. And they would come back. Okay, we got this, and mark it off the list, and mark this off the list, and then go back looking for more stuff.
Cool.
And he's cool. Like, we got to use their table because they were gone by like lunchtime or something Saturday. They were like packing up, and we're like, what's the deal? They were like, oh, we've got everything we came to get. Like, well, okay, cool.
Was that the time when the table was directly across from the safes?
Yeah, the table still is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know if the table location had moved.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how many times you've been there, but yeah, the first time it wasn't, but every time since it's been in the same place.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I've been there twice, but
yeah.
Well, the first time I got a table for me, and then every other time we've gotten a table as a gun channels table from the like the first time I bought my table. Every other time we've gotten the table from the promoter because we're working with them to promote and help them.
Yeah, the gun channels table has always been across from the safes.
Something that I'm going to bring is I have, and just over time, a bunch of gun books that either I've read and don't need to read again, or I just never got to. And so what I was planning on doing is simply bringing a bunch of books, gun books, all gun stuff, and putting it on our table and free to any gun channels member that happens to be at the show. Pick what you want, because for me it's just taking up space. And
I'll sell anything.
Oh, I know this isn't a chat to do it in because this is just some
random,
random.
No, I'm just mentioning it.
Bogus off-air chat, basically. But are we just gonna have the table be some hodgepodge, like whatever happens, like pile of randomness, or is the table going to be devoted to some sort of organization or some sort of goal? We had talked about everyone sourcing and bringing representation stuff for like their Second Amendment organizations. Maybe they're local or a federal one that they have paperwork for, so that it's a outreach table, so that we could, or is it going to be just a bunch of, here's some books, here's some hats, here's some stickers, here's some keychains, here's some other stuff we got. Is it just going to be some gift table where people walk up, grab a thing, and walk away as if it's like a lost and found, like offering from Goodwill or a bunch of nuns?
Thanks for cheapening my gift to some of the gun channels members, but
I was like, you know what? Dan was trying to do something good. I'm gonna.
But you remember that giant stack of books that we got from the gun policy conference?
Yeah.
And I grabbed an extra stack. Okay, for some future idea, unknowns, but it's like here was a golden opportunity. There were books lying there that nobody wanted. So I figured, okay, grab them.
Hey, do you got that? Do you got the book from like the blind guy?
No, he only brought 2. He had a copy of each of his books. They weren't giving his books out. That would have been cool.
Dang. Yeah. I'd like to have that.
So, I mean, if nobody wants them, I'll just put them back behind the table and.
Well, you can put them back behind the table anyway. I mean, even if it's themed or if we work on something, because you said you were going to give them to Gun Channels members. So, I mean,
right. I mean,
like they need to be on the table for that.
Well, people need to know that if it's behind the table and nobody knows about it.
Well, you're going to be there. Tell people.
If somebody's going to do a presentation on the table, it won't interfere with that.
Right. No.
Does that make Mr. 9mm happy?
We can work around that.
Oh, fuck you, dude. Well, we can't even have a conversation. We can't further the event without everybody getting offended. Like, what the fuck? Are you shooting 9mm? Shoot a fucking caliber that can fucking hold up to some fucking back and forth.
Everybody that's going now knows, because everybody that's going watches this show. Everybody.
Well, anybody who's anybody.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Anybody that can read is watching this. So.
Or understand basic English languages.
Right. Anybody who talks good, they'll know. Don't worry, Dano. We'll get rid of them books for you.
Don't worry, I'll just burn the fucking books outside my door. Fuck you and everybody else. Not you, Midnight. Not you, Clover.
I need those to keep warm in Tulsa if it's anything like last time. So
yeah, how about it? You could always take some pizza boxes and send them to people's rooms and stuff. Get rid of them.
Just randomly give them away at the hotel, knock on doors.
Excuse me, I was just outside, with we'll work for food, but instead I'm wondering, would you give me a nickel for a book? It's brand new. Look, I mean, the pages are unfolded.
Now he's e-bagging these books. He got these books. Now
what would be cool is the prison, they got all the books in the little cart. We can find a cart like at the maid service station or something at the hotel, and Dano could walk down the hall and knock on rooms like in prison,
Slide it underneath the door.
It'd be like Shawshank Redemption. I'm like the Birdman representation.
Right.
Some kind of code going on. You could go from table to table at the show, just sitting next down.
And the fact that I'm bringing these books for like 800 miles. You're right, charging a nickel is way too much.
You know what? The whole game where you try to trade something for something better and trade something.
Yeah.
For something
Start
better.
with a paper clip.
Give the people that are there. Maybe there may be people that want to play that game. Give them a book and say, okay, now take this book that was free and to go try to trade it for something that's actually worth something. Then
that's
trade
actually
better, and they trade that for something better.
Maybe you trade it for a box of ammo, and then
everybody has to start with a book, right?
Yeah.
Well, there's always like 2 tables that are actually selling books at the show, so I can see somebody grabbing a book and saying, "Yeah, I'll take a couple of them," and then hurry on down. Hey, can you give me $1?
Dana's going to be banging on people's.
Well, it's not about money though; it's about trading it for an item.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah. Well, once they get the $1, then they try to buy something. Then they
don't count. That's cheating, though. You got to barter your way through it.
Well, if you barter a book for $1, it's still a barter.
Yeah, but that's not. You haven't bartered all the way through, though. That's not fair.
Oh my god!
It's a free book.
Well,
apparently, free is way too expensive for a lot of people's blood.
It's very simple, Dan. All you have to do is take a big red rubber stamp and on the cover stamp "no cash value."
That's hilarious.
Not for retail sale. Right across the top.
Yeah. Not for individual sale.
Yeah, it's like a ketchup packet.
Right.
Good thing I'm not bringing any old spare reloading components I have. Dear God, what might happen then?
You can trade some magazines for mags, maybe.
I got a box of Gen 2P mags, unopened, still in the original plastic wrapper.
There you go.
Original plastic. Did you hear that? Not
you have plastic wrapped in plastic
wrapper.
Well, my question is the gum still good in there? I mean, after all this time, it's got to be like sheet metal almost.
Well, it could be whatever it does over 1,000 years slowly degrade.
I've tried.
that stuff doesn't degrade; it petrifies.
I've tried that. I've got, anybody who wants to experience that, I could probably bring some to Tulsa. But I got some baseball cards from like the '80s, and every now and then, somebody will con me into opening a pack, or they'll want to open it, and I'll try the gum just for the heck of it. Yeah,
like shards of glass.
It is. It's like all crunchy, and it's not chewing gum anymore for sure. Cardboard.
Even when it was new when I was a kid, sometimes you'd bite into it and it would just like
great. Yeah.
It would just crack and crumble. Yeah, just crack. It'd take you 5 minutes to get it wet enough to actually chew it. That's funny. Dan is going to be going door to door in the hotel, banging on doors. I'd like to talk to you about our Lord and Savior, John Moses Browning.
Or you can buy this book for $5 on your face.
Take them and ask them if they'll please just go by and say, "Yeah, I'm with hotel management, and could you please just put this in the drawer with the Bible?"
Now, see, I'd actually let that guy talk to me. It's the ones that are trying to introduce me to Jesus that, I'm like, dude, we've already met.
Dano, the juice says, "Damn, Dano, Night Strike could use those books to get to Tulsa."
Yeah, instead of never mind. I won't go down that trail. I'll curb my tongue.
You can have a telethon, a book sale, a book drive.
Yeah.
Or we could just give him to the bookmobile and say, "Hey, we'll give you all these if you'll take him to Tulsa with you."
That's a good idea. That's using your brain. Here you go, bookmobile. It's your gas money. You just sell them on the way for gas money.
No, bookmobile and Night Strike.
I mean, honestly, though, do you think a bookmobile guy could put up with Night Strike from South Carolina?
I don't know. Depends on what he has to read.
He'd be yelling, "Should not be infringed." Dude would like, get out.
It's like, look, in that box there is the entire works of George Washington and Thomas Paine. Just read those.
Well, I'm kind of curious if he actually did make the miracle drive of 4 hours to meet up with the other people. How many people would there be in that car for that long, to be made in history drive?
Well, it's just him. C.S. Ballou down there says, "Pages shall not be creased."
Long to be made in history. How far are we talking?
Well,
you have to make the impossible drive of 4 hours to meet up.
Well, yeah, it does. But then where are they going from there? How long have they?
Well, that's just to get him up to meet like Obnoxious and Sarge.
Well, I know, but how far did Sarge and them got after that?
16.
Oh, to get to Tulsa?
12 or 16 hours. They're going to do it.
Wow. Whoop-dee frickin' do, right, G?
I mean, that's something. I mean, I don't know what everybody's got to fucking shit on. Fucking everybody's trying to get to Tulsa. But, I mean, Night Strike isn't fucking like, "Hey, I'm retired. I'm just sitting around trying to figure out where to spend my riches." He's fucking sitting there trying to fucking make gun tube fucking work with 50. I think he was at $64 last time I looked a month. I don't even know how he's
crying over the books.
Yeah, I'm trying over everybody. All I hear on these shows is about, or on various chats. I shouldn't say on these shows because it's on more than just a show. But I've heard people bitching about how Night Strike has a crowdfunding thing going because a bunch of people wanted him to participate in a thing that he doesn't have time nor resources to just go do. So if a bunch of people want him to do it and he says, "Here's a way that you can make that happen," what the hell did anybody else?
Well, technically, I don't know if this offer's still open, but I told Night Strike if he can make it to Raleigh, I'll take him out to Sarge's place. So, but yeah, I haven't heard anything back about that.
So, does anybody volunteer to take care of his grandma? Because I'm pretty sure he takes care of his grandma. Like, has anybody volunteered to bring a laptop with him to run GunTube and the other projects he might be working on? He's got clients, right?
Was anybody volunteered to come work in my place so I don't have to worry about the bills, so I can get there and have fun? No.
Nobody fucking asked you to go, though. You're going on your own volition. He didn't say, like, hey, I wish I could fucking go. I'm going to set up this thing. He said, nah, I'd like to go, but I can't. And then people said, nah, go. And he said, well, if you want me to go, throw in a fucking money in the hat. So you're coming at it with the impression that Night Strike's got nothing better to do than to just let everybody else pay his bills, and he's got nothing to do but drive on this vacation. And I'm looking at it where somebody said, hey, go with us. And he said, I can't. And they said, oh, well, what can we do to make that happen? He said, I don't know, this.
And no, John Z, no, you cannot stay with Night Strike's grandma. You can't handle that kind of freedom. You're from New York. You wouldn't know what to do in one of the Carolinas. You'd be turned into some kind of crazy wild party animal. Shooting guns and being nuts.
He does have the Block 19.
Not if he decided to take up residence in the Carolinas.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think he can handle himself down there.
That's true.
As soon as he hit Pennsylvania, he'd go bananas, man.
Well, that's only because you'd be trying to chase him down.
I ain't trying to chase John down. Freedom. He says, save me. You got to smuggle, John, you got to smuggle yourself down here to PA, and we'll figure out what to do with you when you get here.
So who's because my comment wasn't directed at Night Strike, didn't have shit to do with Night Strike. My comment had to do with a 16-hour drive. So who's the furthest this time that's going? That would be the furthest, right?
Well, probably Sarge, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think Cycle's flying.
Otherwise,
they would be.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
Oh, is he going out? I wasn't sure if he was going out. John says PA is worse than New York. Screw you, John.
Psycho coming with his brother? Anybody know?
He's flying, so I doubt it, right?
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't know.
Seems like he's
I think the brother was a factor of helping him drive and have something to do, but I don't think his brother's looking for it. I don't know. His brother does have a Kickstarter going right
you just won't let it go, will you?
I learned from D.B. Cooper.
Mr. 9mm got a chapped ass.
Kinky, Clover, you better watch it. Kinky says he's going to ride out there with you.
I don't care.
He said he's going to sneak a ride with Clover on the bumper.
I got a 6 foot bed, man. Let's just hop in the back. Let's go.
Ooh.
Well, he said on the bumper, so you might want to
Hope it
check
don't
to see
rain.
if that trailer hitch actually has rust on it.
I'll sit on the trailer. I can hook the trailer hitch up. He wants to sit on that. That'd be okay.
It'll be nice and shiny when he's done.
I'll tell you what, Oklahoma road, so I'm just going to warn you. It'll be a little rough.
Yeah.
Well, could he really be Kinky Sphincter if he didn't try to give it a proper workout?
He says he offered me his bed.
In a manner of speaking.
He said he put my tail. He said he put his tailgate down anytime.
Oh, what about that? Lock on my tailgate broke a long time ago. It don't come down.
Tailgate stuck.
Tell you. It's permanently welded.
So on a more clean subject, Clover, how many miles you got on that truck?
Oh man, less than 260.
And what brand or make is that?
06 F-150.
Okay. So you said 250? Is that what you said? Miles?
Less than 260. Yeah.
Less than wow. Is that diesel or I think it's regular gas?
260,000 for those that aren't.
Yeah, I assume that.
Yeah.
I mean, have you had any?
That would be cool to have an 06 with just 250 miles on it, but no. Do I have what now?
And anything other than preventative maintenance you had to have done?
Oh, what have I had to have? I'm thinking.
Think you have to do like a ball joint last year?
Yeah, here's the thing. Those F-150s, especially the big V8, especially the 5.4. Mine's got the 4.6 though, which is thank goodness. But either way, the Fords are bad for the plugs to blow out. So a few years ago, I blew. When was it? Yeah, it was 2017. No, it was 2018 maybe. Hell, I don't remember. Anyway, at about a 230 or so, something like that, about 230, I blew a plug. Well, I went in and I chased the threads and it tightened back up and everything, and I thought everything was fine. Well, a couple months after that, it blew the plug, the same plug, it blew again. Well, this time it completely stripped the threads to the point that I couldn't put it back in. So the fix for that is they make this kit where you basically drill it out, put a Healy coil type looking thing in there that stakes down, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, I do that, and it starts to miss, right? And apparently I didn't like vacuum out all the crud or something, and it got up into the plug, right? Fouled the plug out. So I go to back the plug out because I'm thinking, okay, well, the plug's just fouled probably because of some trash that was left in there, and I'll just put another plug in it. So I back it out. Well, the whole insert thing comes out with it. And so I was kind of at that point basically screwed. So the only way to fix it was to pull the heads. Or pull the head, right? So I haven't had to replace an alternator, a water pump, a air conditioning compressor, no transmission work, nothing like that ever on it. Radiator, you name it, right? Brakes, tires, basically junk like that, sure. But yeah, nothing major. However, at like 230 something thousand miles, I went ahead and pulled both heads and just put new head gaskets and all on. You know what I mean? Since I was that far down, it was like, I might as well put all new gaskets going all the way back up. So yeah, fix the head problem and then put all that back together. So I can't sit here and say it hasn't had major work because even though it didn't, it's not like it blowed a head gasket or I had to, had a warped head or anything crazy like that. It was a stupid plug I had to fix, spark plug I had to fix. Yeah. And unfortunately I had to pull the heads to do it. So, but in 230,000 miles, that's all I've had to do. So.
Now, I'm going to make an assumption, but I'm going to ask because I don't like making assumptions. I'm assuming those were not the original plugs that blew.
No, Lord, no.
I mean, because for a plug to back its way out all the way to the point of blowing out, I don't know. I'm not a mechanic, but I can't think that that's
those Fords are bad about it, man. Pretty common. So, like I said, not as common in the 4.6 as in the 5.4. But that's a pretty common issue. In fact, they make a tool you can get on, and they actually make a tool that I'm talking about where you put the inserts in. If that happens and it does strip the threads, there's a couple of companies you look online that actually sell the tools. I lucked out, and I had a buddy that works for the Ford dealership, so he actually brought the tools home and let me use them. But and theirs was a better tool set anyway, better tools to do it with, better inserts, all of that. But yeah, there's a specialized tool for it. It is a problem.
So I'm just curious, how do you keep any little bits of metal from actually falling down into the chamber?
You don't, man. You just get you a vacuum. You know what I mean? You hook you up like some tubing to a shop vac and run it down in there and swirl it around and hope and pray. And then use an air compressor and blow through it. You can also turn turn it over a few times.
No,
and we did that too.
Turn it over once. You just flip the vehicle upside down, and that way you're screwing up.
Narrow the head or the
just flip it upside down and shake it. Why not?
No, just flip it upside down and then tap it, because then the threads and shit, all the little filings will fall down onto the ground behind you.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah. Either that or the blue smoke.
Is the metal where the plugs go in, is that aluminum or is that iron?
Yeah, it's aluminum.
Okay, yeah, then can't take a magnet and just swirl it around.
So unfortunately, yeah, you can't magnet. So yeah, we took and like adapted down a shot back to like some surgical tubing and kind of run it in there. And then we, like I said, then after that was done, we turned it over a few times. I forgot what we did now, but we did something. Maybe we unplugged the ECM or we did something where it wouldn't crank, you know, and just, you know, turned it over with the starter a few times and then put it all back together. And then of course, pulling the heads off, I didn't have that problem because I inserted it all with the head off the truck. So, which actually works better because I was able to stake the insert not just from the top now, but from the bottom too. So that sucker ain't coming out.
Having access to both sides is really helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, it stakes from both ends, so that problem won't happen again. Not on that cylinder, anyway. I actually thought about drilling every one of them and just going ahead and doing them, but I was like, well, those inserts are like $30 a piece, though. So, because like I said, I got the good Ford inserts.
Wood says, Clover, can't you just shove Lucky Charms in there?
Yeah, that's for a rear end. That's how you fix a whiny rear end. I'm just saying. Hey, speaking of whiny rear ends,
I was just gonna say, Kiki's still out there if you want
to. Actually, banana peel, man. But banana peel, you know, Fine 8 knows all about that. But that'll fix a rear end. And speaking of rear end, I do got a leaking seal that I noticed the other day. So
that happens about your age as your rear end seal starts leaking.
Yeah, right.
And then it starts to whine.
Right. Well, as long as it doesn't whistle.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah, how the heck we get on all that? I don't know. But
Dano asked how many miles were on your truck, and then you're going into maintenance.
I'm curious where that come from. Dano just comes out of the blue with a.
Well, because I saw the truck, and I know it's from a previous venture. So I know it's been around for a while, so I was just curious, just how it was running in general.
Yeah, and it'll go to Tulsa. We'll make the Tulsa trip with it this time too. We rented one for Vegas, and we'll rent a vehicle for NRA. I think my truck would make it both of those trips, man. But why push it?
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you can get such a good deal. I mean, we're getting a pretty good deal on the rentals. I mean, we're getting, the whole insurance, the roadside, the whole 9 yards for like $32 a day, So
yeah, for unlimited miles, that's great.
Yeah, that's unlimited miles. It don't matter. $32 a day. It's like, and you're talking about getting 40 plus miles to the gallon with what we rent compared to, I don't know what my truck gets, but 20.
15, 20.
What are you going to be driving?
That 5.4 on the highway gets pretty decent. It's pretty high geared, so it gets pretty decent. But yeah, do what?
So did you get a special deal, or is that the regular price?
For what?
For the rental and the.
No, that's not regular price. No.
Oh, okay.
So what vehicle are you renting?
Insurance and everything else. Do what? Hey.
What vehicle are you renting with the?
You don't know. It's what they call an intermittent vehicle, I think, or an intermediate. Intermittent. That's funny.
So it's only a vehicle for certain times, and then it's a horse-drawn cart another time.
Right. It's just certain times it runs, certain times it don't. Yeah. No, intermediate is what they call it. So it's not the economy and not the compact. It's the step up above that.
So it's a 5.56 instead of a 7 or a.
When we went
small 4-door or something.
Yeah, well, when we went to small 4-door. When we went to Vegas, it was a Nissan Sentra, and then I think it was like a Hyundai Elantra, and then like a Toyota Corolla, maybe that style vehicle.
So it's not like a '97 Geo Metro tracker.
No, that would be like the compact or or maybe even the economy.
Well, no 7. Mostly driven Chevys, but some of the like mid 2000s and onwards V8 Chevy or trucks do get 20 miles a gallon. It's not like on average, you might like be 18, 19, but.
Well, my truck gets, like I said, it probably gets around 20. I haven't checked the mileage lately, but you know, it's normally it's been around 20, but still, I mean, that rental will get 40 and you're doubling your mileage. So,
So is that 4.3 a 6?
No, it's a 4.6.
Oh, 4.6. So is that a 6-cylinder or is that an 8?
4.6. Yeah, it's a small V8.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, you're in a lot flatter land than I am. And over here, we got a lot of hills. My Chevy doesn't get anywhere near that, but.
Well, it's not super flat here, but it's mostly highway. Not a lot of city. I mean, I'm 20 minutes easy from the closest town. So it's mostly highway when I'm driving.
Yeah, that helps.
Yeah, Jew said he could see me in a Geo Metro. My sister-in-law owned a Geo Metro back in the day, 3-cylinder, and I can remember her and her boyfriend and my wife and I going from Alto, Texas to Spring Hill, Louisiana, in that Geo Metro.
So that's why you're so short. You're
Good
probably
Lord,
crippled by the trip.
I'll tell you something. That was a very uncomfortable ride. I'm here to tell you.
I'd like to see you go up I-70. No, I'm sorry, 77 in Virginia from North Carolina. It's like a 5.5-mile hill straight up.
I remember those Metros actually
get out and push.
Right.
Those Metros actually came in 4-door versions, which I thought were just illusionary because you can't fit 4 people in there in any shape of comfortable at all. Without bottoming out the
This was a 2-door, dude. We went and
it was a sporty coupe.
4 people fit, but yeah.
But the suspension had to be just about all the way down.
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of suspension to those cars anyway.
Not quite like on what the hell were they? The kind of spiritual successor to the Metros, the not Sonics. No,
Geostorm.
No. Not the Sonics, before the Aveos.
Aveo, yeah.
It's pretty bad when you have 4. All right, let me rephrase that. 1 normal-sized man and 3 slightly overweight males when you have to turn off the air conditioner to get enough power to merge.
Well, you talk about the Geos. My uncle had got one of the. He had a bad to the bone tracker, man, and I don't know. I couldn't tell you because I don't recall. But we used to, at the time, we were into drag racing. We had a '68 Camaro that we drag raced, and he actually got out when it would rain. They would get everybody out to drive the track in a circle and dry it out, right? If it was damp. So he got out and while everybody was out like driving the track, they would get up there and like people would race, you know what I'm saying? Like street race or whatever. It's like an unofficial or whatever. So I've seen him really get on this tracker several times, really get into it. And I don't know what engine was in it or anything like that, but I'm gonna tell you what, for what it was, that sucker whooped on a whole lot of cars and trucks up there at the racetrack. I've seen it happen.
That's funny, Clover. I just can't imagine a tracker flying around the track.
It was, man. It was, like I said, I don't know what engine was in it or nothing like that, but it was tough.
I guess they have a low center of gravity. Maybe that helps.
Well, yeah. Remember with it.
And it wasn't. I don't want to be misleading. It was not a regular tracker. It was like the Cavalier. Like the Z. What was it? The Z24 Cavalier they had, and they had those. It was a special edition, whatever that was, of the tracker. But it was pretty sweet.
I had like a 2004 Chevy Tracker or something like that, and it wasn't a bad little vehicle. Wasn't necessarily great for long road trips, but commuting and a little bit off road and dirt roads and stuff. Yeah, it was a great little, vehicle.
Car chat. All right. I'm fading fast. I think it's time to get the hell out of here.
1.6 liter, 80 horsepower.
Ago, man. I'm impressed you made it this long, Midnight. You look tired an hour ago.
I'm always
I think
tired.
he got all his yawnings out of him.
Call it the quitter. You call it the quitter, not the closer. Quitter.
Yeah.
No, he's the quitter. I'm the closer.
Clover Tack, you got anything going on here to plug? Anything new going on?
I ain't got nothing, man.
Nothing.
No, I got all kinds of stuff coming out every Friday, obviously. But now I get to record a podcast with Liberty Doll Wednesday. So that one will be coming out, dropping for y'all soon. So I'll get to I hadn't talked to her much since I don't know, since meeting her, I guess, whatever you would want to call it online, because it's not like we've ever met face to face. So it's going to be interesting to spend, an hour or two recording a podcast and kind of getting a feel for. She lives up there in Massachusetts, so kind of getting a feel where she stands. Pretty obvious, being Liberty Doll. She's definitely, supportive of the Second Amendment and all of that. But as far as her firearm knowledge and that end of things, it's gonna be kind of interesting to see where she's at on a lot of that. See where her, where her education lies. So looking forward to that. But outside of that, not a lot. Same old stuff.
You're supposed to give her John Z's number, by the way. He says.
She's married. Sorry, John.
I don't think he cares.
Well, she plays disc golf. Could you really handle a chick that plays disc golf? Come on.
Ooh, that's tough. Maybe if you combine that with guns somehow, like if you had the chance to.
That's like a notch above a chick that plays real golf. I'm just saying. Like,
well, now I think we can even it out is if John's allowed to use a rascal with clay pigeon thrower.
I was gonna say maybe you could try and blast the frisbee out of the sky when she throws it. Maybe that could be the thing.
Oh, I think we had a conversation about that one night. I was telling her that would make it a lot more challenging if she was doing that and those guys on the side with birdshot.
There you go.
We'd talk about a hazard, right?
Well, you get number 12 shot, he'll be fine.
12 shot.
12 shot's good for snake shot.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I use for my. That's what I use for my when I load snake shot pistol. Snake shot number 12. I'm gonna tell you what, it'll disintegrate whatever it hits. You hit a snake. You hit a snake, and wherever the column of shot is at, it just disintegrates that area. It's gone.
Well, it's kind of like a non-air powered sandblaster,
and no ricochet, which is kind of cool. I don't know if anybody else has ever shot 12s or not, but
I think that's what's in these old Federal 22 shots I got here.
You just don't get no ricochet off of it at all.
That's what I was going to say. That the birdshot 22s or whatever, the snake shot, the CCIs, is that a 12 shot or what is that?
It's pretty close. Yeah, I don't know that it's 12, but it looks like. I've never deconstructed one to look. To be honest with you, I've always made my own.
I wonder how many of those you could fit into a 12 gauge. Shit.
A lot. Yeah.
You could probably fit about an ounce or an ounce
and a half. That sounds appealing, except for most gun clubs are not going to allow you to shoot if they know you're shooting. Well, they're probably not going to care what you shoot as long as you're not, entered into a tournament or something with it. Mm-hmm. But realistically, because of the size, how little the shot is, you think that would be cool. You'd be like, man, look, check out the pattern you could make, right? with that much shot. But then again, is there going to be enough energy in any of those little pellets to actually break the clay?
Well, is there going to be enough energy for all of it to travel forward? I mean, it's, like throwing sand into the wind.
That's basically true too. Yeah, because it's so light. Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. Maybe if you just sprinkle some in there like pepper, just to kind of take up instead of using shot buffer.
Fill it with 12, yeah.
Pepper shot.
So I want to say that it's man, I honestly can't remember if it's Federal or Winchester. I want to say it's Federal, but they make a 22 long rifle shot shell but instead of like a blue plastic cup at the end, it's just a crimped piece of brass.
Yep.
Yeah. Right?
Well, that's
Now,
how they all were
CCIs
when I was a kid. That's how they all were. They didn't come out with the. I never saw the blue plastic shot shells till I was a little bit older.
Now, I want to say the CCIs are number 12, but I think it's those Federals that are crimped. I opened those up, and I want to say those are like 10s or 11s. Like those were bigger.
Nice.
Bigger shot in the crimped ones.
So, yeah, I don't remember. I mean, I haven't seen. I didn't even know they still made those.
Yeah.
That Federal still made them, or they still made 22 rat shot.
Yeah, they still make them.
Well, that's what I mean. Like when I was a kid, the crimped brass was all I saw. I didn't know that. I thought they got away from that. I thought it was
I'm pretty sure that CCI in their larger calibers, like 9mm, 40, 45, stuff like that, of their center fire like shot shell stuff, that they offer different sizes. Because I know I've bought 9mm that was like
I have some of the
12 shot and some that was like 7.5 or something, right?
Oh, really? I have some of the 9mm. I have some just. I thought it'd be kind of nice to have it.
Now, if I could get some with like 7.5 shot or even like 8 or something, that would be fun to freaking go to the.
I think they even have 4. They even have all.
They do for 357 and 38
that's a little
special.
Small, but I'm thinking, load down my revolvers or something with 7.5 or 8, and I've got capsules. I could do it, and I just never have. But that could be cool to go out and actually try to shoot skeet with a revolver.
try and make it through the donut hole.
That could be that could be interesting.
It's neat.
Yeah.
Create a new game.
Yeah, CCI Big 4 shot shell ammunition, 38 special, 48 grains of number 4 shot.
Yeah. Dead Horse, you got anything going on? Coming up?
Just gonna be shooting more. I might try and go live here towards the end of April. I'm going to be shooting in a long-range competition coming up here in 3 weeks. I might try and go live from that, 1,000 and 1,400 yards.
What will you be shooting in that?
A 50 BMG.
Do you hand load for it?
No,
not yet. Not for the 50. No, none of my presses will do the 50 yet.
Better go work out then when you get into that. Whew. Start lifting weights or something.
Well, he's got a couple kids. All he has to do is put a seat on the end of the press handle.
Yeah, I'm telling you, for 2 or 3, that's like wrestling a bear, dude. Good God.
G, do you got anything coming up?
I do. I'd like to go down to Barbados, so I've started a crowdfunding project. Scratch and snip stickers that are going to smell like your butt.
Very cool.
They're going to smell like Cortex trailer hitch.
Now, and that was brought to you by Mr. 9mm.
Mr. 9mm.
Barbados. He's going to go swimming with the turtles or something then.
Oh, no. I'm deathly afraid of the water and travel. This is just a vacation, just simply for vacation purposes. I'm going to go to McDonald's and Kentucky Fried Chicken down there.
I wonder what they have at the McDonald's down there. You can always get a Big Mac.
I'm going to stay at a Holiday Inn.
Right.
Yeah,
well, of course. He's smart. He stayed at a Holiday Inn Express last night.
That's right.
And just remember, if there's a knock at the door, it's just a guy with a book.
It ain't cheap.
Or someone offering you a free pizza.
It ain't cheap. I have everything for sale on this one.
You could, if Dano, if you play your cards right, you might be able to trade up with your books and go along with your buddy there to Barbados.
Yeah, that's definitely possible. And that ice stage is right around the corner.
just take your book straight to the airport, slam them down in a counter, and be like, "I would like to go to Barbados, please." And here's what I'm using to pay for it.
I will.
You got anything coming up other than Tulsa? I know you're going out to Tulsa, right?
Oh, just my book sale. Oh, I mean my giveaway. Because I'm not selling them; they're not for sale. I'm just handing them out like free to the crowd. I'm just gonna throw them out there like it's raining money. And wherever they land.
What? Dano's giving away O-lights again? What?
Yep.
Huh? Yeah.
All right, put me down for one of
their
those
server
PL
for 3
mini
days.
Yeah, put me down for one of those PL mini ones.
Now, where the reloading guide lands and what it lands on, I'm not responsible for. But yeah, that's it.
Like a drunk at a titty bar. The money lands where it lands.
Yep.
Seven Wonders, what's going on? You got anything going on?
As a matter of fact.
Uh-oh.
Nah, I just got a couple little things. I'm actually overdue for my 247th subscriber giveaway. I think I'm at 253 now, so I apologize to those who've been looking forward to it. But anyway, yeah, we're a couple days late for that. I'll try to do that in the next couple days. And as some of you know, David Bowling and I were going to do a live chat last night.
Yeah, you had a great show last night. I wanted to commend
thanks,
you on
man. I appreciate it. Actually, on the third try, a couple of the guys and I ended up spending 2.5 hours talking last night. So we get to know each other well. But the problem is David couldn't hear us. And so anyway. So
there's been a lot of that going around. That's been happening a lot with people.
Yeah, it's crazy. But anyway, yeah, he couldn't hear us. I mean, I jumped in fine, unlike tonight. But anyway, I don't know. We're going to try to do that this week or maybe next weekend. The only other thing, and some of you are probably already tired of hearing this, I'm doing a 3-way comparison among mini Berettas. And I got the range part done already, but I just need to do the sit down comparison first. But anyway, yeah. Other than that, nope.
That's cool.
Sucking up some vodka and orange juice.
Good. Ape, you got anything going on?
I got nothing.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, Dead Horse and Ape, Clover, G, thanks for all the AR talk. I appreciate it. Thanks for stopping in. Something I don't have a huge amount of knowledge with. I don't really have a huge amount of knowledge about anything, unfortunately.
Amen to that.
It's probably why I'm broke.
Admitting it's the first step. So,
that's right. But I appreciate it because it's interesting to hear you guys talk about it. You guys know so much. So, that's what it's all about, right? Learn some knowledge. So thanks for taking the time and coming on and bullshitting a little bit with us. I appreciate it. Hopefully it was interesting to listen to. And if not, I don't know. Go watch somebody else's show. Uh-oh. Clover Tech says Mexican food in Tulsa is outstanding. That's what I heard. Been hearing about that we've been hearing about that for a damn year.
Been hearing about it longer than that. Got news for you. Going on 2 now.
Ape, you want to take us out?
All right, shameless self-promotion aside, ladies, gentlemen, and Jonases of all ages, thank you for watching Midnight Range TM's The Closer. Be sure to check out gunchannels.com for more Pro 2A content. This concludes our regularly scheduled programming, but we'll be back sometime tomorrow morning with open lobbies throughout the day. Gunchannels.com Monday night programming. At around 8 p.m. Eastern, we have Clover Tax, MOA Monday, or Instagram chats. It's all up to him. And also at 8 p.m., we have Why Volcano Squad is Locked and Loaded on YouTube. At 9 p.m. Eastern, Never Enough Ammo, a.k.a. Mr. Matt's The Guns and Geeks podcast, The Weekend Geek. 11 p.m. Eastern, it's the Outlaw Hatfield's Monday Night Shootout. And every weeknight at midnight Eastern, it's the Daily Gun Show. Also, check out guntube.org as a free, unrestricted Pro 2A video platform. If you like what you see, go over to Patreon and throw them a couple bucks. For more cool and unique 2A swag, go over to gearwebsites.com. And remember, a hot dog is a sandwich, a Slim Jim is candy, and keep your guns hurled and your chambers loaded.
That's right. John Z says, someone check Clover, make sure he stopped leaking. They make that stuff. They make stop leak. Yeah. Do they make that? Do they make like Pepto-Bismol with stop leak in it?
I think it's called Flex Seal.
Oh shit! Well, that works from the outside in though too, so be good to go.
Well, you know, if it coats like his lining in that, he can go to Tulsa and have all the Mexican food he wants.
Bring it all back to Texas with him. Drop it off in Texas. It's like Smokey and the Bandit. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for being on the show. I appreciate it. I hope it was interesting. And I'll see you next week.